Hi, I'm Liz Kloczkowski, and this is the Shuttle Pod Show. Go say hi to Terry, right? Boss man, like executive producer of my show.
Yep.
The director.
Take a deep breath.
Oh, you mean Brannan's assistant?
Yeah.
Oh, Dominic.
You're never going to work for Terry Metalis. You know that, right?
So, get us a cup of coffee,
It's
mate.
like super cool. Also, I'm at the same party as Terry Metalis. No, sorry, Metalis.
Yeah.
I've been screwing his last name up. Terry Metalis. I'm sorry, Terry.
He's right behind you.
Yeah.
He's listening.
He's like,
Thank you, Terry.
The eyes move. The eyes move.
Oh, man, he's
That's creepy.
Gonna go and do my convention thing. Got my costume, I'm going now. Yeah, we're having a ball. It's Star Trek, y'all. It's teleporter. Beam me up.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Shuttle Pod Show. Today, we have very special guest, Liz Kloczkowski. We'll be answering your fan questions, doing some Star Trek trivia, finding ourselves on Connor's remote island, and much more. As always, our Patreon members get a full extended version of this episode. I'm Erica LaRose, but before we move on, we have a special message from Andrew Robinson.
Like, subscribe, and join us on Patreon.
Thanks,
Thanks, Andy.
That's so awesome.
And now for your hosts, Connor TRINNEER and Dominic KEATING.
Hi. How are things?
Look at you.
Any news for the week?
you look like a cute bride of Frankenstein.
Thank you. Thank you, Jober.
Are you
Yeah.
calling me Frankenstein?
I guess I was.
A little bit.
We all have a little white going on. So
We
all-
do. Yeah, at the end of summer.
Yeah, it is. It's the Labor Day's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, officially.
Did you do anything?
No, I didn't. Labor
Nice.
Day, I did not. No. I'm just,
I didn't either. I didn't do the labor.
no.
No labor
I didn't do anything.
on the day.
So, well, it's nice to be back.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an exciting episode. Treks and Trekkers, ladies and gents, welcome back to the Shuttle Pod Show. I'm Dominic Keating. We're delighted to have in the golden chair this week a young lady whose career is meteoric as much as her talent. I'm actually rather jealous of this girl. I've got two things on my bucket list that I really wanted to do in now a 35-year career. I wanted to go to Cannes with a show, and I wanted to go to Sundance, and I've done neither. And she's done two in the short time that she's been in the arena, and God bless, well-deserved. She is a really, really talented art director who's going to be an amazing production designer, I'm sure. Welcome, Liz Kloczkowski.
Thank you,
darling.
Thanks so much.
Welcome to the family too.
Oh, my
you
gosh.
are now. Look at that. We have the Picard family right behind you.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me, Cannes and Sundance, you.
Sorry. I'm a bit of a snob because Cannes was my first film festival. And so I've gone to
Poor thing.
all these
Yeah.
other festivals and I'm like,
spoiled.
what is this?
Yeah.
It's like Sundance was snowing and
Yeah.
I wasn't invited to any parties and it wasn't like, Cannes was just
It's like
so
slumming.
amazing. Slumming it. Yeah. And Cannes was like, I just said yes to everything and like limos pulling up and
Now,
So what was it?
Cannes,
It's just like-
Cannes was under the Silver Lake, wasn't
under the
it?
Silver Lake. Yeah.
That's David Robert Mitchell's.
Yeah. And
film,
so
which I did not see. I have to say, I've not
it's
seen
okay.
it.
It's okay.
I
It's
feel
on
bad,
Amazon. You
right?
can watch
Because,
it. It's like a weird Andrew Garfield's in it. It's like a weird take on
Topher
LA.
Grace and
Yeah.
and Lisa Marie's daughter, right?
Riley, yeah.
Keough,
Riley
yeah,
Keough.
yeah.
Yeah, it was my like first union movie I ever worked on.
Was it
But I
really?
had helped David, the director. They wanted to do some animation, and they knew that I had done Robot Chicken, and I was in the stop motion animation world. So I got in with that, and then I helped them with the reshoots. Michael wasn't available. He said, "Oh, just have Liz run the reshoots."
This is
So-
Michael Perry, right?
Michael Perry, yeah.
Right.
So they knew me, like Adela and David and all of them knew me. And so I was trying to plan a Europe trip and the film was going to Cannes. And I just emailed them. I was like, can I go? You know, and Michael, are you cool if I'll go to Cannes with you guys? And they said, yeah. And they put my name on the list and
How
I had
great.
like my name on the chair in the Palais.
Brilliant.
What was
You
it
know,
like?
it's wild. I'm on a train. I'm going into, I'd never been to Europe before. Also, it's like
Oh,
my
wow.
first trip to Europe.
Jesus.
So
fucking
I just
killing
like
me,
Straight to Cannes.
yeah. Well, I went to Paris first and like wandered around for 3 days alone. It was
Right.
awesome.
Did you need a prince to get married?
No. It's so crazy. But I'm on the train on my way into the city and I'm like, what the am I doing? Like, I don't know anything about where, like the city I'm going to. I didn't actually have the festival pass. Like they hadn't, they called, but I didn't have that yet. So I'm like, I'm going to just wing it. And on the train, there was this girl, this Italian girl who goes to film festivals. Her name's Alita. She was talking about Can I go there every year in front of me. She's like roughly my age. And I was just like, can you help me? Like, what do I do? You know, where do I go? What do I, and she was like, oh, I've got you. So I'm on WhatsApp with her. And so every party, oh, you need to go to Grand Hotel. After you watch your screenings, meet us at Grand Hotel. Every single night, all the filmmakers are at Grand Hotel.
Wow.
Like networking. So this girl like just showed me what to do. I'm like, oh, well, the train shuts down at 9, right? Because I would take the train back to my Airbnb. And she's like, well, who cares? What are you doing at 9? Like, you meet us at the Grand Hotel at 9:30. You know,
is she an industry person or is she
just? She's like an Italian filmmaker. Yeah,
right.
big. And I think I just saw her at the she was doing the Venice Film Festival thing. Yeah, but it's just great to meet this person who helped me. And so I just like made this group of friends that, where are we going to eat? And what screenings are you going to?
Brilliant.
And like,
no sleep.
No, yeah, you watch the sunrise every day.
Do you?
Yeah,
wow.
you actually. So at Grand Hotel is this like hotel, kind of off the. There's the Palais, and it's like walking distance. It's the hotel just sets up like blow up furniture and stuff for the filmmakers to talk about.
You actually go to the movies to have a nap.
Yeah. No. So you see like 4 or 5 films. You sign up to see if you can get any of the red carpet films. And as like a festival goer, you just like, there's a little kiosk. You say, oh, I want to go to, I think Black Klansman was airing. And I saw this Lars von Trier serial killer thing.
His romantic comedy.
Yeah. I was in the group of women
hilarious.
that like stormed out. Like a bunch of us left early because it was just like,
was it really?
Yeah. But there was like a news article written about like all these women who left the theater. I was in the group of women that left. But basically you see your films and then you go to the patio of this hotel. You buy a bottle of rosé and they give it to you in a little like baggie, like plastic, like nice gift bag full of ice and water. And so I buy my bottle and then you look and all these people are waving at you. Like come sit with us. Well, you look cool. What films did you see? But you have the bottle of wine, you just bring it, you add it to the table, and then hang out with people all night.
Great.
Oh, we're going to the Scandinavians are having a mixer. Come with us. You know?
They're crazy.
Yeah, they're sweet. But we knew because
They
it's
bring
like
their own sauna.
That's right.
you're there on a budget though, and so they're which places have food, what places are doing the free drinks. Like Nespresso had a thing. Yeah, it was a blast.
Wow.
It was so
How long
fun.
were you there? A few days or the week?
I stayed the whole time.
No kidding.
I was there when it opened. It was.
And how was the film received there? Because it's a uniquely American Los Angeles story, isn't it?
Yeah, so I saw it AFI Fest. It's aired there, and LA loved it.
Yeah.
And then Cannes got a standing ovation, but not as
Not
much
5
of it.
minutes.
But LA, like I saw it at the Dome, and that's cool too to see your name like in the Hollywood
Yeah. No kidding.
the Dome.
The
Arc Dome was gone.
well,
Yeah, it wasn't what
Cinerama Dome, yeah,
the
yeah.
Cinerama Dome. Yeah.
Yeah. God, that must have been one of the last things they showed there.
Yeah,
frankly.
it was. Right afterwards, I think it shut. I think they're going to reopen.
They are.
Oh, I hope so.
But so we're there to like see our names on the screen, in the Dome, and all these people are like standing ovation, like, oh, I love this film. It was so great. And in Europe, it wasn't as much understood, but it's a story about a guy like wandering around LA, like uniquely to LA, like the Hollywood Forever screenings and
I love Andrew Garfield.
a
He's such
party in a
terrific-
mausoleum. Like I've been there. So
And you were on that film as the art director?
no, so I was an art department coordinator. And then Michael Perry, I was my first time working with him.
Right.
And the art director quit. So they upgraded me to assistant art director, which is like the natural way to, you go coordinator, assistant art director, art director. And so I have a assistant art director credit, and then I was art director for reshoots because I was the only one there. And then Michael, the second time he hired me on Promising Young Woman, he was like, "Oh, you will be my art director."
Fantastic.
And so he upgraded me twice. So
Another
I can credit
big,
him
and you
for
went to did you at
Sundance,
Sundance with that?
Yeah, that's why I was like, "Ugh,
yeah,
this is cold."
That's not what I'm used
Didn't
to.
get in can, huh?
And I didn't. I'm not a skier. The whole thing. Like the screening was in like a gymnasium. I'm like, oh, this isn't the Palais. But both screenings with Michael, my dear friend and production designer, like it's just fun to. I rode with him in his limo. He's like, oh, come with me and my wife. So,
So
just, like,
how did you get
people.
to meet him? You had pie with him. I read somewhere, didn't you?
Yeah.
What was that?
He likes pie, and I was brand new. I remember it was raining, and Nicole Murtha is this decorator I worked with in commercials. She was like, "Oh, I need you to meet Michael." I'm like, you're great. Like he's gonna love you.
And he'd done a lot of commercials, and
He's done commercials. He's done actually TV, and he's done bunch of movies, but he had done It Follows with David. So that was like a pretty well received movie. So we had pie and they were talking about stuff that I didn't understand any of it.
How long have you been in LA at this time? 2 minutes?
Yes. No, it was like 2016. So it's 3 years. Yeah.
Where did you grow up? Where did you come from to LA?
Seething.
I'm from south of Boston.
Okay.
North of Providence in a small town of like my graduating class.
It's coming out now, the
kids.
Providence. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
South of
my
Boston.
accent. So yeah.
Near Worcester.
By Worcester. Yeah, exactly. That's how you say it.
Worcester. Yeah. Worcester. I always go whenever Americans get big for them, it's just say Worcester. Just try it on. Where's Belgium? You grew up in the woods, yeah?
Yeah. Small town.
Yeah.
Watching movies.
Yeah. On a fuzzy TV.
On a fuzzy TV. Yeah. We had this because my dad didn't like how the satellite looked on this, like how it was going to look on the house.
Fair dues.
So we had this like antenna that you rotate. With like this little box, right? So you would crank it. And if you bound the antenna up, you had to go up there and like untangle it. But we didn't have any clear channels.
On any given day, it was one of the kids' jobs to stand up there.
No, you would yell to them like it's better or worse. Sometimes you'd have to go.
Don't move.
If the box wasn't working, you had to go manually fix it.
Yeah.
So that was how we watched our.
And you didn't. Art direction and the whole idea of being in the movies was an afterthought. You were going to be a journalist, right?
Oh, how did you know that?
I did my research.
Oh, God. I don't have a Wikipedia article, so I don't know how you guys find that stuff out.
Did you see his face?
Well, that was one of your minors, right?
Yeah. I went to, because I wanted to be a writer. And then I was going, how do you make money writing?
Oh,
right?
I know.
Well,
ask him.
And
Easily.
Journalism, I was like, okay, this is something, bankable. But after my first year out there, I realized I'm not a good writer. And I don't like telling the truth.
That's tough for journalism.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
You know what I mean? Like true stories are boring is what I meant. I'm not, that came out wrong.
Alternative truths.
No, but like making stuff up, like fantasy and, historical dramas and sci-fi and all that stuff was more appealing to me. And it's like, how do you embellish stuff when you're working for NPR or something, so it wasn't like, not really appealing. And then I got recruited from the film school by this Korean DP. He was like, no, you will be in film. I'll help you switch your major. And so he helped me like change it over. So that's, And then we don't even have a production design program. I just wasn't good at the camera stuff, but knew I wanted to make movies. And all these guys needed production designers on their projects. And so I did everyone's project.
Did you know you had a talent for it at that time? Or did it become evident as you would on the job, as it were?
We were in like theater in high school. Like I painted sets and like I did a lot of makeup and that.
I was going to ask. You were part of the
theater
behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I was Miracle Max in The Princess Bride in one performance. I did like the Billy Crystal impersonation and I had a beard.
What was that?
But we painted this like really the backdrops was really where we came from.
All right.
Creative stuff like that.
And you got to have a real sort of penchant for detail and attention to the minutiae, haven't you? And that's.
Did you think you'd go into theater?
I had a theater minor, so I was doing it. But it's funny. I watched Garrett's podcast and he talks, or his episode, and he talked about when you crew on theater, how you're free labor. Yeah, and that's exactly what we were. Like I was in stagecraft, and stagecraft means you crew for whatever. I was on Children of Eden, making biblical props. Like they give you like a whittling thing and like a rasp, and they're like, okay, here's your prop list, make all these props. So that's what I did. That was like one of my classes out there. So
make it up.
Yeah, and the theater kids, they just crew on all the shows. So all 4 years you do 4 or 5 productions.
Right.
Which school was this?
It was Ithaca College.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But I was in the film program, so the theater was just helpful. And actually being over there, we used to recruit the actors for our films. Like I actually got in trouble one time for cutting this actor's hair. We were doing like a World War II piece, and he was in Eurydice, and he wasn't supposed to have like a Third Reich haircut. And his teacher was so mad. So he like buzzed him.
You did literally to give him a buzz cut.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I had to do all of that. So I was doing the makeup, the costumes. Like in film school, you kind of do it all.
Wow.
Right.
And then when I moved to LA, actually a friend of mine introduced me to his family as, this is Liz, the makeup artist. I was like, I've never done makeup ever. Well, but I did it in film school. So that's how they remember you.
So you came out, you started commercials really, don't you?
Yeah.
And
I knew that.
You didn't know that. There's a lovely story about you. How long did you shop for cereal balls for a Kellogg's cornflake commercial?
Yeah, 3 days.
3 days.
Searching for bowls.
Yeah.
But commercials really shows you how to like that's how I cut my teeth. Is like
Yeah.
find stuff, find it fast, and
Yeah.
it has to be perfect. And
Right.
it doesn't matter how much money you spend.
Because they had budgets back then.
Yeah.
Back in
Yeah.
the day, I remember there's
Yeah.
that lovely joke about a brain surgeon just about to sort of make the incision with a laser into the girl's head, and the nurse nudges his elbow, and it cuts through, and there's blood and brains spewing out. And everyone's going back crazy, and the doctor goes, "Everybody, just calm the down. We're not making a Barbie commercial here."
Oh my gosh. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, I'm not saving lives. Like,
really.
It's all of this. It's so important, but it's like, it's a commercial,
It is,
but it has to be perfect. And, you're there to impress the client, and, it's a
And-
one day to shoot it. So it's got to be,
And I'm sure you
high end.
had this experience. I had them as well. The commercial director thinks they're making Citizen Kane.
They do. I swear to God, that Vidal Sassoon one I did. We started at 10 a.m. in the morning. The first girl, they got her hair done for it, and the director didn't like it. I shit you not. 15 hours later, they'd done her hair 5 or 6 different times, and they went back to the original hairdo
Sure.
they'd done at 10 a.m. in the morning. We started shooting at 1 in the morning and finished at like 10:30 Sunday the next day.
Yeah.
It was-
Oh, wow.
It was just like that crazy.
And we do a lot of like the client sees everything ahead of time. So for us, approvals is really difficult to, they haven't seen a chair they like, or getting them to look at all the furniture. And, if we render out a lot of stuff, but sometimes you'll get there and they'll be like, oh, this isn't working. Can you bring us new stuff?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's deal to like load everything on a truck and get it here and pick it out and open the accounts and pay for it. And like, all of this has to happen for us to
What was
deliver.
the winning bowl, by the way?
I was thinking
yeah.
that.
It was a salsa bowl.
Wasn't
Like,
it?
I bought this whole like chip thing with like thing, and it was this tiny little salsa bowl, and that was the one that they chose.
Hilarious.
But yeah, you end up shopping, and I only shop on commercials. It's like not technically what art directors do, but like
Right.
you're searching. Everyone's searching. The designer's out searching,
Right.
trying to find the stuff to. That was that designer. I call him my LA godfather. His name's Joe Cabrera. He's like a big Budweiser, NFL,
Right.
Nissan, and
Right.
Joe's the one that's like, okay, handle it. And and he actually gave me a chance. So I didn't know what I was doing, and he's like, who did you talk to? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't ask. Always get a name. Like he was always good about like drilling stuff into me to make sure I'm like,
Right.
sharp.
Like in the
Right.
beginning, obviously you don't have the resources you have now to find things. How do you just ask around, or you just blindly search for something?
Now you work with all the seasoned people. So Joe would be like, hey, go call special effects up and order all of his equipment for him. Okay. And, well, it's Roger Matsuo. Give him a call. So I call the effects guy and I'm like, I just want you to know, I don't know what I'm doing. Right. And Roger's like, it's okay. I'll help you. And so he'll give me his list of stuff that he needs, and then I'll make that list and we'll order, he needs fans, he needs smoke machines, or, a lot of them bring that stuff. But anything that needed to be ordered back when I was a coordinator, I was the one that ordered it. But they're talking about RE fans. And I'm like, oh, what? Like I'm on the phone, figuring it out. But yeah, you just call their people.
Right.
So go to Warner Brothers and talk to my sales rep. And all these people use the same sales reps, and they have the same, it's funny. I emailed some guy from Daisy, and I don't know if he works there still, but that was my rep back when we were ordering things. So yeah, everyone has a guy. And then the more if you don't, I use Facebook a lot too. If I don't know something, I'll be like, hey guys, art department, Facebook, everyone's got
That's a resource then.
Absolutely. And it used to be Debbie's book. You could go on there and see neon companies, and then they'll give you a list of neon companies in LA. And now I'm like, I just have the places that I usually go to, my usual places first.
Right.
And then if there's some, there's a new Studio Plumbing is like a bathroom. That's where you shop for all your bathroom. Like you want a pink bathroom.
Let's go.
That's
check
where you
that
would go
place
get
out.
it. But we do, because
Yeah.
we never know what you might need. There's lamps. What is it? There's a lamp place. Literally the whole place only does lamps. And you walk in and it's 5,000, every kind and category of torchères.
An era of lighting. And,
it's all,
Yeah.
but that's where you,
Which brings us rather succinctly to, I know finding the carpet
oh yeah.
for Enterprise D was a major undertaking, wasn't it?
Well, it's normally easy, right? You say, okay,
Yeah.
what was the carpet? I'll try to find something similar.
Yeah.
And the red carpet in particular for the Enterprise D was popular in the 80s, 87. It was called Berber Dot. And I know this because I interviewed somebody that knew, how they built
This is the
set then.
red, the sort of maroon red
Yeah.
one. Yeah, right.
But the Berber Dot doesn't exist anymore. You Google it, it doesn't.
It's not there.
No. So it's trying to find something
So that's at the back
That looks like
of the
it.
horseshoe, isn't it? It's that's the red carpet at the back of the horseshoe.
No, it's the red carpet's basically all
No,
around.
it's where the 3 chairs are.
Yeah, and
isn't
then
it?
there's
Yeah.
gray is like on the perimeter,
Right.
and then around
Right.
the middle will be, I think, is gray too.
So what did you do about trying to reproduce that then?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just 5,000 samples. So every carpet vendor we had, like Linoleum City is where they got the gray stuff. So actually,
Linoleum City.
Linoleum City is where they used.
I love Linoleum.
So I
City.
interviewed a flooring guy that did flooring for Next Gen,
Mhm.
and we were like, "Where did you pick up the flooring?" And he was like, "Oh, Linoleum City," and the gray was there, and that's where
they
we.
still had it.
But that's like my first call, anyways.
Mm.
So usually you do your first calls, and then okay, show me your red carpet samples, and there's like bright red, and and then you start calling like places out of state. What can you guys get? And so in this like giant pile of carpet samples, I found one that's not exact, but really close.
Don't tell the fans that. There's a lot of twitchy people right
We
now.
found it. They found it.
But I probably spent $1,000 in samples because then I was ordering big pieces of carpet to put like on the stage as they were building it, squinting on there to like, does it look right? And then I brought Mike and Denise and Doug Drexler to come look at it. I'm like, what do you guys think? Is it too red? But we actually struggled with that because the SD stuff looks pretty brown actually. Like if you look at their uniforms, they look maroon. But I've
Right.
seen the uniforms like in real life and they're like bright red.
Right.
So it's that SD versus HD. Like I'm trying to
Well,
pick
yeah.
colors off the SD and
Can you talk about the difference for their audience? The SD
oh
and
yeah,
HD?
standard definition versus high definition.
Yeah.
But that's so they had that standard definition and then they've since like revitalized the Next Gen into HD,
Right.
and it looks much actually. You can see the reds like are really like they're punched up reds now. But I didn't see the HD stuff. Dave Blass had them on a hard drive until after I had picked all the colors out. I'm like struggling.
Dave's the production designer,
Production
on
designer, yeah.
Picard. Was he there from the get-go?
Yeah. Well, he was there from seasons 2 and 3.
Right. Okay.
And I came in the middle of season 2.
And you came slightly down the totem pole, didn't
Yeah.
you? I mean, again,
Getting my foot in the door.
meteoric rise. Who was it that sort of headhunted you? Because you didn't you quit a job to go to Picard?
Yeah. It's Star Trek.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey guys, I got to go.
And you just watched all of Next Gen in the COVID lockdown, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you were like, it's all fresh in the mind.
Yeah. So
And,
my friend Tim Stepik, who's like this Emmy-winning set decorator, he's Cold Case and X-Files, and I think he won for House of Lies. They won an
Right.
Emmy for that. He's fabulous. But I met him on How to Get Away with Murder. And then, years later, he gets the job on Star Trek. And he's like, hey, I'm working on Star Trek. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, how do I get on that show? And he's like, I'll put you in. So he kept putting my resume on their desk. But there's a million people that want to work on the show.
All right.
And people with so much more experience than like
They're chomping at the bit for it.
the
It's
small
Star
town.
Trek.
Well, it's Star Trek, not as much as like it's the big budget show in town, and so that's really what people and the sci-fi show. A lot of sci-fi people, obviously it's appealing to them,
Right.
and like 30-year career people.
Mm.
I'm like this year will be my 10th year in LA, and art directing like 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not.
Them.
Yeah, I'm not them. I'm always gonna get.
You're not fresh off the boat, but
No,
yeah.
and I'm a young woman though too. So it's like,
Yeah.
who do you want? Backing your. It's like heavy construction. It's like construction management
Right.
is what we do.
Right.
It's like a build heavy show. It's not like, oh, I'm set dressing furniture. Like I don't do that. Like it's
Right.
so yeah. It was getting in the door was hard. Just to get taken.
Did you find that as a young woman that was a tricky that had its own agenda to it?
Normally, yeah. I've been super lucky that Joe Cabrera and Michael Perry, for my first 2 designers, like love women.
Gotcha. All right.
And they've got your back. Yeah. Then
Yeah.
Michael's like, I think his thing was don't f up, and they give you this
Then you're
thing.
good.
Yeah. And as long as you can do that. So I got in, an assistant art director quit. And so I took her job, and it's funny. I called her. I was like, hey, why are you quitting?
Why? Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Oh, it's, people leave for other shows. They have like,
Right.
interpersonal, whatever. But she told me, she was like, oh, you'll be fine. Jonathan Frakes is directing this episode. And I love that man. Like he's such a lovely man.
He's such a nice
Yeah.
And
man.
I was watching the show and I was like, Riker? Like,
I was just, how starstruck were you then?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll be cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
I mean,
Am
you
I being
just,
cool? I think I'm being cool. Am I being cool right now?
you just
so.
watched the entire, I mean, there's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, so
and then suddenly you're standing next to Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sir Patrick Stewart.
So Tim had been hired, and then for 3 times I had kept getting beat out by other people, but it was COVID, and there's like nothing to do. Right. So I watched Next Gen. I watched all the movies, original movies, Next Gen movies. I'm in Deep Space Nine.
Didn't watch Enterprise.
I'm 11 episodes in.
Oh.
I watched.
We're
There you
very
go.
good, aren't we?
Yeah, it's so fun.
We're very good, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, but I'm getting there because I'm still in the middle of Voyager now too. But because I grew up like in the 90s, right? So all this stuff was in syndication by the time I got to it.
Right.
I actually, as a kid, I was like, oh, Worf was my favorite, but he was in Deep Space Nine and he was in Next Gen. And I never knew what show I was watching, you know, like the characters are different, but as a kid, you're like, go change turn the antenna, it's fuzzy,
Right,
you know, it's like, you like watching the show, but like, you don't really get that like serialization. Like Deep Space Nine actually had that,
Yeah.
like telling the story each episode, you've got to watch them all. And like, no, it's not on, everything's on Netflix now. I can just watch it all in a row
Exactly.
on Paramount or whatever.
A lost weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I made 11 episodes in Enterprise. I'm not looking for renting the DVDs. I could just click on the internet and
Right.
find it. So I watched it all. And then whenever Dave heard that I was watching Star Trek, and I guess he had people working on the sci-fi people working on the show, but not a lot of Trekkies. And he wanted that love for,
That makes sense. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I got lucky that the guy I was working for quit to another job. And so they put me up for his job.
Did you call him too?
Did I call?
Call him to ask why he quit?
Oh, no. I was on the show with him.
Oh, yeah,
he
yeah.
was, Bruce is great. But yeah, so I just got lucky. It was just all these people leaving and then like getting my foot in the door. And then even then they were like, oh, you're on a trial. Like, we'll see.
They told you.
Yeah. We're to test you out.
Did they test you on your Star Trek knowledge?
Dave would.
Would it really?
Yeah, he'd come into your office and he'd be like, okay, what's the episode where Picard gets hit by a probe and lives a whole life? I'm like, inner light. You know, like,
Beat me. I was waiting for you to get done so I could answer it.
no, like,
More.
he would do
We're not
that.
there yet, love.
Yes.
And we're going to kick your ass this week, clearly.
So yeah, he'd give you episodes to watch because he wanted to take something from that episode and put it in the show. So doing the research, and I'm like an overachiever anyways. So I'm like, oh, I can do all this research and do well. Like, yeah, I'll do that. So I just like, then you realize it's like 800 episodes of television.
Yeah.
So you work yourself up because they give you, what do they give you? Sick bay to look after, and
Yeah.
what other sets did you
So
get?
he gave me Elios and Sick Bay, and I had to do them at the same time.
Right.
And it was very busy, and they both were slam dunks. And
Right.
so I just got lucky that like he likes what the designer likes what you're doing. You're doing Star Trek for Star Trek, and it looks like Star Trek.
Right.
So he just started giving me more sets in the ship.
Wow.
Yeah, and then,
You know?
and then the big kahuna comes.
Well, that was a rumor too. I guess Terry told Dave.
So because you sorry to interrupt, but you because they did season 2 and 3 together.
Mhm.
Did they always? I mean, did Terry know that they were always going to get that cast back for season 3, halfway through season 2? Do you know?
I
that?
don't know what
I
Terry knew, but I think that was the intention, right? It was like
Right.
the reunion, you know,
Right.
just to close it out. But yeah, it was a rumor. I think Terry had said something to Dave, like, you know, we're talking about
So
the
it was,
Enterprise D.
going round,
But none of us knew in what capacity.
right?
So we just started researching like the set. And then you start reading on it and you're like, oh, they changed it every season. They upgraded it, or they the lighting changed.
Yeah.
Which
The
version do you
ceiling
go with?
ribs, they took some out. I guess it was too busy. Like there's all of this evolution.
Yeah.
You know, there's an article actually written called The Evolution of the Enterprise D Bridge. Some fan has already written it and explained it to me.
Shocking.
Right.
Yeah.
My favorite version is Generations, hands down. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's more.
That's the movie, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and we talked about that too. Like,
Well, they got more
Or
money.
Yesterday's Enterprise is a similar version to.
there's like
the
7 of them
Generations.
in that,
Yeah.
you know, like all the alternate.
No, so you go, but you want to reproduce the TV version.
That's what they landed on.
And you go for around season 6 or 7, season 6.
Yeah, 6 and 7 didn't really change that much. Really, the only thing I noticed was that in season 7, the turbo lift now had blue carpet. Used to be gray, now it's blue.
Uh-huh.
But Mike Akuda gives me these photos. He's like, oh yeah, I took some set photos back on season 6. He had gone through and
How
taken
great that they were still around to
Yeah.
be doing it. Yeah.
yeah, you know, and he was already working on the show. And so Mike had taken all these zoom ins of all the details. And so that, and then Doug Drexler had a bunch of plans that we used to start the floor plan off of. So without that, and actually just having them come in and say, yeah, this looks good.
Right.
The carpet looks good. These paint colors, I'm like, is it too beige? I'm like,
What about,
psychotic.
was Herman around to help out? Zimmerman, did he have any?
Oh, that's a good question.
were there
Herman's retired.
blueprints and
Well, the blueprints. So I went to Archives and I scanned their blueprints. That was John Van Sitters at Archives. Come on in. And there's like maybe 100 pages of drawings. I think there were 30 pages I had to pull from. But there's like, missing details. And we had the captain's chair drawing, but not the con and ops. Like we're missing some things. Doug had a few extra pages. So between Doug and Archives, I had like a good base to give to a set designer to then freshly in CAD, drop the set.
So you go ground up, blueprint, the team does the build, and you're overseeing it.
Yeah, and actually from the get-go, so Kevin Cross, and he was our main set designer. He works from home. So I send him, hey, we're going to do the Enterprise D. I have a floor plan. I need you to model it. And then I gave him this whole research on how the bridge, because the plans that I had were from the pilot, not from season 7. So they took ceiling things out. Like there are things that are wrong that I have to know because I did the research. So I'm feeding Kevin all of this research. Kevin models the set. I actually forgot about him because I was doing, I was in the transporter room and the nacelle room and it was busy. And I had given like this assignment to this guy. And then he was like, it takes time, but I'm not checking in with him every day because he's modeling it.
Right.
So like 3 weeks later, he's like, all right, Liz, here you go. And he had like 3D modeled, the Enterprise D, like pretty, just not the furniture, but the set walls. And I'm like, oh, this is really happening.
Wow.
So he did that. And then I actually sent screenshots of it to, we had this super fan, Jörg Hillebrand, who's in Germany. We had him on as a consultant because he's the researcher.
Doesn't he have the original set? No, am I making that up?
No, Jörg is he's like a teacher who researches Star Trek as his number one like pastime hobby.
Right.
Like he's the most knowledgeable person ever on Star Trek. He could tell you what furniture was used in what episode, when the art department reused set pieces. I mean, the guy he knows so much. But I had his email, and so I was like, "Hey, I'm not going to tell you what I'm using this for." But and he signed an NDA, so he was fine. But because I didn't want to spoil it for him either. But I'm like, "Can you take a look and see how close we are?" And he red penned it. He circled these areas that we didn't quite have right. And he was like, oh, the arches here are wrong. And this is close, but not your ceiling ribs have these little things that don't exist. And so he had sent notes back that I credit to why the set's so
that is
accurate.
so cool.
But then I have to take Jörg's notes and I have to translate them to Kevin and then make sure Kevin does the notes. And Kevin's like, well, I thought it would be like this. And I'm like, no, it must be like this. And then Kyle was he ended up getting into the horseshoe and all the furniture. Kyle Quarter. Suck. Kyle remodeled the horseshoe, and that's like a compound Bezier curve, and doing that in 3D is really hard too.
Right.
So these guys, their eyes are red, like staring at the
Could you think it would be as simple as just watching a couple of episodes of the originals of the show and just going, yeah, we can build that?
Yeah. I mean, but you watch it to look at the stain on the carpet or,
Right.
But half of it's like, I would like just to put
I know
a
you put
picture.
signs up everywhere, didn't you?
Mhm.
I saw one of them somewhere. Don't touch the walls.
Don't touch
Literally. So it's quite a nice sign, but
Very smart.
smiley
design.
face, but yeah. Deaf. You were very
Because people they screw the setup.
Right.
Sure.
yeah.
No
Connor
coffee
did.
cups.
Connor f***ed everything up.
It was a habit. Yeah.
Don't give him a prop.
I broke a lot of stuff.
I had on the Ilios, I had somebody sit on the front console and crack the glass.
Well, that was Frakes, wasn't it?
I will not name any names.
That was Frakes. Fat ass Frakes sat on the glass.
No.
I said it.
No, but yeah, I remember I was all mad about because we replaced the glass twice. I'm like, who is doing this?
Oh my
And I'm like storming into the set, and then somebody was like,
Was he sitting down as an actor or a director?
he wasn't directing that episode. That was
He's digging you a hole.
yeah, I know. Oh God, I love Frakes so much.
He's a mensch,
the
isn't
best
he?
director.
He really is. He's a sweetheart.
What were your hours like during this time when you were working on
Long.
long
all
day and
Yeah.
night?
all the hours.
Yeah, so I basically have to catch the fires before stuff goes wrong. So if it's a 7 a.m. crew call, I'll be there at 5, walking the set, checking it just to make sure that whatever happened the night before. But then construction also starts at 5 or 6, depending on what they're doing. So then I'll usually walk the mill with them and see what they're building because I'll catch stuff like this is being built with the wrong material, or if they have questions. So in the morning, I'll usually start with them and go through all their questions. And then by the time I get back to open the set, make sure director's happy, actors, everything's happy, go back to my desk and see what is up with my email and all the online people who have questions that they've started. So we have like digital set designers, illustrators, concept artists, all those people working from home.
And you're responsible for
if they're working on my sets, then I'll have a dialogue with them. And like Dave, the designer, usually gives them notes. But if they have a question that maybe I can answer, and if Dave's busy, I'll answer that. So I'll answer their questions in the morning. And then Dave will be like, hey, so you've got another set. So I'll meet with him about whatever's going on. But then it's like by 5 p.m., the online people will drop their stuff for me to look at for the next day. But if I wait till the next day to give them notes, then in the morning, they're all waiting for notes. So between 5 and 7, or sometimes I don't get back to my desk till 7. So from 7 to 10, I'll be giving them notes to make sure that they can all.
And you're in Santa Clarita doing all this.
Yeah.
This is not at home. This is no.
I was there till like 10 o'clock. It's a short answer. Is like 9 or 10 o'clock every night. And then you're there usually at 6.
Yeah.
Depending on if my sets shoot or not. So like when they were shooting, when Kit was doing the Alien City, District 6, I didn't have to be there for that.
Right.
But then they're like, oh, come check out District 6. I wish I did, but I never went because I had all these other sets going on.
Right.
And I was in the morning crowd. So they're like, oh yeah, meet us at 8 at Disney Blue Cloud. I'm like, no, I won't be doing that. I'm exhausted.
So you're on set when they're shooting your sets?
In the morning. I check on everything. And then on the Enterprise D days, I was there much more than I needed to be. Just like standing in the corner, crying.
That's my baby.
Oh, crying.
Of joy, right?
Yeah, or I'd come down to check out, like, sometimes they call me to the set, like if there's a question about props. Like we had some props in 7 of 9's room that they wanted to know.
How they work.
You were there the first day they all showed up? The
on the Enterprise D?
The cast, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. How
I
was
was
that?
standing by the turbo lift, or kind of by the plaque. Dave and I were standing there.
Oh, the plaque.
Yeah, next to it. But they came in and it was just like.
Tell me what the plaque was, because that was Picard's.
It was the plaque from original Enterprise D.
Yeah.
Someone, maybe Mike Akuda, had it in his garage.
All right.
He couldn't find the frame. So we said, okay, we'll make a new frame, and thanks for that. And so I used to hide it. Like I'd take it off the set every day.
Yeah.
To keep it safe. Yeah, because I don't know who's going to take it. It's priceless.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I mean, I always remember when we were shooting next door, they were doing Nemesis. Within 3 days, his chair had gone.
Yeah.
Happened twice.
At least a couple of chairs.
But I knew that. I'm like, do I screw the chairs down? Like we didn't, because they need to move them for.
Didn't that plaque go missing one night?
Yeah, Dave took the plaque. Like I go down to it was like a late night, and I guess
your heart must have just.
Oh, I was mad really, because I went down there and it was like 8 o'clock, and I guess they had left early. And so I'm like, okay, let me go get the plaque. Moseying down. Actually, my office was just upstairs. I was like, my offices were on that stage. And it was just this like dusty square where the plaque was. And I was like, the one day I'm late. But then I was like, okay, Dave took it. So I go to his office and I was like, where is it? And he's behind his computer, like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I'm like, give me my plaque back. And he points and it was on his drafting table. He's like, well, you left it there. I was just helping you.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
He's like a prankster sometimes. So.
Where's the plaque now? Is it back with the Akudas?
Yeah, it's back with its owner.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed. Yeah, I think people know it's Mike's plaque.
We should get Mike. Mike's coming in hopefully next week. We should get him to bring said plaque. And then we'll stick
in the briefcase.
No,
handcuffed to his wrist.
I don't know, Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did it go? I never saw the plaque.
Did it go?
I always do Liverpudley.
They're
what wallet? I never
best.
saw the wallet.
The Akudas, you guys should definitely have them. I love them. So.
They're amazing.
They're the sweetest, aren't they?
I just saw them recently. Like Mike makes blue drinks. So they're like Romulan ale, like themed drinks. He's handing you a blue drink. There's 2001: A Space Odyssey, like jazz version playing in the background.
They live
just like talking about their favorite Star Trek episodes.
I should put that in the email to them.
Bring the blue drinks.
Bring the blue drinks.
Yes,
bring the plaque and the blue drinks.
Yeah.
So what an experience. You get to see that cast reassemble, and you just watch them all in their heyday. Yeah. And
I had just watched
what a thing.
Like fresh.
Yeah.
What was the vibe?
Well, they So I mean, they had been they reunited for a couple of scenes. A bunch of them were in the sick bay, and it's funny. There's a funny picture of me standing in the corner, watching them in the sick bay, like watching them reunite because it was the first time they were all in the same room.
Right.
And then they were in the observation room together. But the Enterprise D, I mean, they came in. Michael Dorn came in and just sat in a chair, and just like,
Well, they spellbound. Yeah.
yeah, he just like sat down. Like LeVar went up to his engineering station and pulled his chair out.
Mhm.
And there was talks about that too because. We were trying to save money. So they're like, oh, maybe we can't afford to do the pull-out seats.
Yes,
because
I
it's extra.
heard that. I mean, how much were they saving?
Well,
not having.
Yeah, I mean, I do what I'm told, but
Right.
I was lucky that whoever was building it was like, yeah, we built the seats.
Yeah.
And the first thing LeVar did was pull his chair out.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh, there it is.
All right.
And like Gates saw the little jump seats.
Right.
She's like, the banquettes. And Patrick's like, they weren't there. But because he doesn't remember them because they were only there for seasons like 6 and 7.
Oh.
So they were different. They were like clear things. And then like there's a lot of shots of like Q sitting on, bothering Picard sitting on these little side chairs, but they changed. Nobody liked them. So they were constantly changing. So Patrick would remember things differently, from, you remember like the, seasons 1, 2, 3, 4 were different.
Yeah.
Not, where was your mind? Season 7, you're not looking at them at that point.
Right.
So that.
you've done conventions now, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you had a successful Vegas.
Yeah. I had like a line at my table.
Yeah.
Like what?
How's that?
It's very strange. Art direction doesn't usually get this kind of like rock star treatment. Even on Twitter, I'm like, all these fans are saying like such nice things. I'm like,
Lucky
thanks,
you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, but it's not like
Sundance, Cannes, nice things on Twitter.
I know. No, but like that's like if you look at
It's
like
my bucket list.
all your shows, right? Like, do people know who art directed what shows they like? Like, not really.
Yeah.
But on Star Trek, like back to Andy Probert, like Andy, he was designing on original the movies, and he did the Enterprise D bridge, the actual like drawing the horseshoe, and like Herman Zimmerman and Matt Jeffries. I mean, they named a whole set after the guy. He's an art director. The Jeffries tube.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like, when are we getting a Kloczkowski tube?
Slow down. Slow your roll, lady.
But yeah, these guys are like the Akutas, right? They're graphic designers. Like they're
Right.
not actors.
Right.
Right.
Doug Drexler. I was like, Doug, like you have such a great career, in makeup and art department. He's like, and VFX. I'm like,
Right.
this guy is, he's done all three
Right.
and he's excelled at them.
Right.
Yeah.
These people are all art people.
Right.
Dan Curry.
Yes, Dan was on recently.
Yeah.
God bless him.
I met him. We snuck Dan and Herman into the Enterprise D.
That's
like on
the
a Sunday.
episode that Liz was watching recently where she realized we had too many plants on our set. And it was like,
Oh,
you had a
that was the
plant
one?
next to Dan's head, and I don't want that.
No plants. I'll have no plants in my show. No, it's just like too many orchids.
Too many orchids.
I unfortunately told Mark that I didn't like his plants. He's like, I have two new orchids on standby right now. Sorry.
If you want help with your set, you're going to get rid of the orchids.
Have you
It's
ever been to a convention before that? Not as part of the convention, but just as a.
No, even Comic-Con. This was my first Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah.
We had like our room was like standing room only.
Yeah.
But I think we were lucky because the actors were on strike. So they can't talk about Star Trek. So who can talk about Star Trek but like the creatives?
Oh, that's true.
True.
My union has, I'm with solidarity, in solidarity with all you guys.
Yeah.
But I can talk about Star Trek without like breaking any rules.
Yeah.
So that was cool to be able to talk, and people are interested in the process. Like, oh, how did you find carpet? Nobody cares about what carpet I used on How to Get Away with Murder.
No.
Actually, we do have a super
That
fan
was
now.
my
We had a
question.
super fan, and he actually their fan sent me an Instagram message because there's this like whiteboard that I made when the FBI figures out all about all the murders. I like make this crazy board. The fan was like, "Did you make this?" And I was like, "I did."
Actually, the carpet in Promising Young Woman's rather nice. That pink carpet at the mother's house.
That was there.
Was that already there?
Yeah, we
Oh,
just
really?
found that. And we added a lot of like the dog paintings and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, the
That
Alsatian
carpet.
above the fireplace is hilarious. Just priceless.
But that carpet was there.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be associated now with
With carpet.
Call Liz for carpet.
Going back to the Akudas, I mean, and I forget what they're called. What are those L plates that they? What are they?
Oh, the L cards.
The L cards. Yeah,
they invented them.
And they invented them, didn't they? And I know there was a big issue about using what plexiglass you were going to use and the reflective nature of those, and not getting the crew. And so, how did you get around all that? What are the details of choosing that? I mean, is it just trial and error? Or?
Yeah, we do samples of things. I had it figured out in the sick bay because we did those like the sanitation, like surgery area in sick bay. We took that off Voyager, but they're plexiglass panels, but they're like floor to ceiling plexi staring right into the room. So if I didn't treat that with something, you would see the whole crew reflected in them. And you actually see that when I looked at Voyager, like you see these like crazy like light reflections on all these lights shining off of it.
They never just black them out. They never.
Well, they do. That's what they did was like show card.
Right.
And actually, that's the one critique I got for Enterprise D was that there were no black show cards from people, because it was the thing on the set. But I was like, I didn't need them.
Right.
Like, why would I use them?
No.
If that's what you guys are talking about, black card.
Right.
Like, I did okay.
Well done. Did you have to know how everything worked? For instance, when I had a scene where I had to do a lot of technobabble in engineering, and I was like, I need some help here as to how this actually works. In they trot Denise Akuda, and
who knew how the machines?
Yeah, she was like, well,
work?
this goes into here and does that and that and that and that. And now it gets to you. And I was like, oh, okay. Then it made it, of course, easier to say the line because I had some idea of how it's supposed to work.
All that and the idiot board.
Well, there was that. I had a white
Somebody
erase
wrote
board
the
myself, but
lines
there
for
was
you.
some other reason. You have to know how it all sort of works in theory.
In theory, yeah. So I had like a stack of research books, like I had like 25 research books, but like the technical manual, which Mike and Rick
The Bible
wrote, yeah. And then there's the encyclopedia that Mike and Denise wrote. I mean, I had all of these books. So there was one of them.
I've signed a few of those.
The transporter, yeah. That's great. So have I.
Yeah.
The transporter room was a big one because it's like, okay, the coils and the, how this all works. And so I had like researched it because I needed to make sure I had all of the elements to like make a proper transporter room.
Right.
And there's a funny story about like the day before, maybe 2 days before I went down there and they were wiring it up to light it.
The transporter room. I love this story.
Yeah. So I go down there and I'm like, all right, can I see it lit up? And the guy is like, yeah, sure. And he like flips on a light switch and every light turned on at once. And I was like, all right, well, show me how like we're going to transport someone now. And it's all the lights are on. He's like, yep, that's what you get. And I was like, oh no, I have all this research and I have videos I sent of like, you're on the lily pad and it pulses and the one above you. And then the, guys in the middle, like it all does something. And I have all this research. And so I got in this, like a fight with this guy because I'm like, that's not how transporters work. And he's like, because they're real. And I was like, it's been around since the 1960s. Like I had this whole like rant, I made a phone call and then they're like, yeah, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
So, because he had to rewire everything, and
just put a dimmer on it.
Yeah. But it's not just that. It's like if they're all connected, they all have to be on separate boards and it's much more than what I know how to do. But yeah, I was all like ranting because the transporter wasn't right. Like I catch up to the set and they're transporting and all the light, every single lily pad turns on.
No,
right.
They're like, so there's that type of stuff we do have to kind of stand behind.
Right.
But
yeah, it's a lovely story.
That's awesome.
The attention to that detail.
Love that stuff.
Because God knows.
no, but I'm like arguing about transporters.
Yeah, so cool.
That's not right.
But I only knew that from researching and then pulling the book out like, oh, this is, you get scrambled below and then you sent elsewhere and now you're back.
You ever find yourself in moments of like, I don't know.
Yeah, you make it up.
You just,
it's like the movie.
There is no, I don't know.
No, it's a thing.
Right. You say yes.
Yeah. Or like I'll disappear and then come back and have an explanation.
So what's happened to that set now? Are they going to keep it around or what are they going to do with it?
Yeah, we were afraid that it would get thrown out. But John Van Sitters with Star Trek Archives secured us a warehouse to put it in.
That's great.
Yeah, because it's like, well, where would it go? Like we actually thought about like, does it go to Ticonderoga with the guys that already have a tour there? I mean, they've got a Star Trek license. Yeah. Or the dentist guy that has all the Star Trek stuff. But no, the archives kept it.
Yeah.
And they kept a lot of stuff. So hopefully you see it if they ever do a museum exhibit, like a Skirball or something.
All right.
They have all that stuff. So
Because that's
it's safe.
when we finished, that's when they did that massive chuck out at Paramount. Do you remember?
Oh, well, yeah. What was the Christie's did the auction of they had 2 books of
They
it.
made $10 million that weekend, I think.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was
Wow.
a ton of money.
Dan told me this story. Dan Curry, like, they were trashing the next gen sets, and they said, "Oh, you should go down there and see if any of your artwork is there. That maybe you want some of it." Because he painted these beautiful, like sci-fi backdrops on glass, and that's how they did all their like VFX shots. Because he came up with all this fancy stuff. So he gets there, and like as he's pulling up, this guy had flung the piece of glass with his artwork right into the dumpster and like it's shattered. He's like, oh, and so I think he was able to take some stuff, but he just said that image of like his beautiful artwork getting.
Yeah.
It's funny. We had so much security on the last week of our show.
Yeah.
To keep people from taking stuff?
To keep us from taking stuff.
Yeah.
Literally.
Anti-talent security. I like it.
I went in and I might have worn a trench coat and walked out a lot bigger.
I'm trying to take things.
But I mean, I've had people, we've had people, who have bought stuff on the Christie's auction and give it to us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got several uniforms and stuff and hats and.
What's the craziest thing you've ever been given?
Well, it's not the craziest thing I've been given, but the craziest story about somebody who bought something was Carol. Carol, if you're watching, hi, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Carol is a fan and a friend, and she bought my EV suit, these bronze colored, God knows how much it
The
cost.
spacesuit.
Yeah.
They were the mother of all costumes.
She was a veterinarian, retired now, and I saw her one time, and she told me that she had it, and I said, what do you do with it?
She'd do surgery with cats.
I work on my animals. No, she's like, sometimes I'll just put it on and go water the plants outside in the front yards. And I was
great.
like,
in her back garden.
Do you really?
Can you only imagine what
And
the
she was like,
neighbors
I know.
must think? She's a crazy Star Trek lady.
Yeah. It must have been huge on her.
Just flopping around the front yard.
You just wake up and you're like, I'm going to put on my EV suit today.
It's an EV suit day.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh my God.
Of course, she threw out her back.
You're gonna need a tummy tuck, honey.
Oh man.
Yeah, God bless.
But it's funny though and it's not just like, oh, this stuff is valuable, but it's valuable like personally. Like people they care about it so much, and it has such a significance to them. I mean, maybe more than us, but like if these things matter to the fans so much, I mean, that's where now we have like they're appreciating the work that we do, but like you don't see that on any show that you work on.
No, I mean, you really don't.
It had such an impact on these people's lives.
It is an extraordinary phenomenon. I mean, I don't want to say rabid, it's not the right word, but the love and attention that the fandom has for the actual lore of this show. And as we've gotten deeper into doing this chat show, and my appreciation for that's deepened. And I've become a bit of a Trekhead in the last year and change. And
never would have thought that would happen.
never thought that would happen, honey.
I mean, I'm more than I grew up with it, but I wasn't like as obsessed as some of my friends are. But in the last few years, just seeing how it's impacted so many people's lives. Like when I went to Ticonderoga, it's a kind of a small town. There's an original series tour there, and these people are like, they care about it, not just Star Trek so much, but how it impacted like, oh, I'm a NASA flight surgeon now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like I'm an architect.
Yeah.
So it inspired them to do,
The engineers.
like humanity has a hope.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I sat on the bridge with Bill Shatner in the captain's chair asking people about their lives,
Mm-hmm.
and like how did Star Trek affect you? Or how do you,
It's kind of humbling.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
And these people too, that people were going through a tough time.
Oh,
and Star Trek brought me through.
Yeah.
Saved their lives.
We've covered this a few times now, but yeah, it's moving the stories that come up to the table. And my son died in a car crash, and your show for that 1 hour was my respite. For months and months. And
but even
months.
after, when everybody saw the Enterprise D, it brought something back, like a childhood memory or a happy memory from 30 years ago.
Right.
That grown men are like, oh, I cried.
Yeah. Ask Erica. I was on my feet at the foot of our bed, my arms in the air, like I just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I could not believe it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
It was
I'm thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
I can't believe it was happening.
Yeah. But that, and so it was so significant. So I just got lucky that, I happened to be there.
Yeah. Do you have people walk up to you when you're signing or something and they say that they want to be an art director or a young person or
Yeah.
anything like that?
College kids, yeah, a lot of them have questions like, how did you get to where you are?
Right.
Or what classes could I take? Or what programs could I learn? You know, like young women too are like, oh, look, that's a young girl doing this thing. Like you can do it. It's not just all like scary old men.
You're a great role
Right,
model.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool to see that.
And nice for
you.
someone on that side of the camera to be able to say, because I always go when they ask about being an actor, is there nothing else that you can do?
Yeah.
Truly, nice to be able to say, you know, well, this is the route I took, and this is it's a recognized profession, and you can work hard and get in. And
But it's also a lot of luck. I'm like,
do you think? I mean, do you think you've been lucky? I mean,
yeah. I mean, my first job was the annoying orange. You know, it's this like funny YouTube like
my son
Yeah.
loved
Mine,
it.
yeah.
with the mouths on the oranges, right?
Yeah.
And it was just the first thing that was at the art department posting. And I was like, oh, I'll do that. And I swept up cigarette butts.
I was
And that
reading.
was my job, you
Right.
know? And they let me build stuff.
All
And
right.
they gave me a credit as a builder. Like I was an intern. But
Right.
yeah, like you start there and you meet people and then that meets people. And then, you know, like I got lucky with the people that I met. And,
Right.
you know, even Star Trek, like it almost didn't happen like 57 times.
and you did a lot
You
of
know?
stop motion too with Seth Green's company, didn't Stupid
Buddy.
Stupid Buddy, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a fun like niche.
Yeah.
You know, stop motion has its own way of building things.
So I know quite a bit about stop motion. One of my best buddies is a stop motion animator, and it's an incredible profession. And I'm just really glad that it's still around because it might have died, but it's come back a bit like vinyl.
Yeah.
It's
Like Leica, you see these big stop motion companies doing these
Yeah.
beautiful,
Right.
you know, like a lot of my friends just did that. Guillermo del Toro,
right.
Pinocchio, or,
Mm.
you know, a lot of them, it's a small industry.
As we were saying before the camera started rolling, I went to see the Yorgos Lanthimos movie, Poor Things. There's some amazing stop motion miniature stuff in that.
Oh,
You're
cool.
gonna die when you see this film.
But they
It's-
still use it. Like Blade Runner 2049 used it for all their
Right.
exteriors. They
Did
built
they?
all the exteriors are practical sets. So they could have the rain on the buildings. And, you know, yeah, they used the VFX to have the ship flying through and stuff. But to have that, like, you're not moving through a 3D space and you feel kind of prickly in your neck because you know it's fake, right? It's like you feel real. I'm like, why? How does this feel so good? But yeah, they built
actually
that
built
stuff.
that, yeah.
What's the last thing you saw that you were like, oh man, that's
Mm.
amazing?
Probably Dune.
Yeah.
Dune. I'm a huge Dune
Yeah,
fan.
yeah.
He is an amazing director.
And I'm like, I've only
I
read the first
say-
4 books. There's like 27 books to read, but
Right.
yeah, like I would die to work with Denis.
Yeah.
But that, like, just seeing how they're his childhood books. I mean, Dune affected so like Star Wars and
Yeah.
you know all of these sci-fis.
Yeah.
You know, it was out before all of that, but it's just to show how the world building.
Yeah.
And you know, some people are like, oh, world building, but no, they did it. You know, like it's
It was so believable.
millennia of
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
You know, and people these you know the stuff carved on the walls and
Yeah.
giant silos of people trying to terraform
Yeah.
hundreds of years in the past, and you know nobody talks about it. It's
Yeah.
just there. It's like, you know, going through the Colosseum and it's in ruins, but we all knew it was gladiators once upon a time. So
Right.
to bring that history into a story that doesn't, you know, they don't actually like talk about it like, oh, that was in the books. They do, but it's hard. You have to show it
Mhm.
in a movie. But
Cinematically, that film was absolutely stunning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Shakespearean in breadth, and I just remember that one particular scene when it was just a slant. It was like a pyramid, and then the two actors were down there in the bottom left of the screen doing the scene. It was like, wow, that is.
But he did
Quite
Blade
something.
Runner like 2049. I mean,
Right.
it's the same thing where like, how do you do another Blade Runner, you know,
Exactly.
and not f it up,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and do it better. I mean, that's another one of my Blade Runner is one of my favorite films, but so is Blade Runner 2049,
Mhm.
you know, because I'm like, oh, it's just like understanding the world and the story and taking it further. I mean, he used Sid Mead. I mean, he used him
Right.
he brought him back to do concept art on like the Vegas, like the futuristic, but Sid designed on original Blade Runner.
Do you have your hand in what happens in digital design as well as an art director? Are you?
The designer does. So like Dave worked with VFX to design the ships and all of that. Doug and John Eves designing those ships was all art department that was handed over to VFX. So that's part of the look of the show. So the designer would have their hand in that. art directors, I'm basically the practical stuff.
Oh.
So I'll look at so I worked with John a little bit on making sure that the Ilios exterior matched the set that we were building.
Mhm.
You know, like the shape of it kind of has to go into the bridge. It has to look like they have to fit together.
Mm-hmm.
But with the virtual art department stuff now, we're dealing a lot more with like Mandalorian. You know, they had the TV screens outside the windows. It's like the stagecraft.
Right.
Have you seen how they do like set extensions, but they shoot it all in camera?
Is that the other show?
Star Wars.
It is.
Yeah, it's the other one.
The other
can't
one.
be named.
That's the other show.
But it's not just Star Wars though, too. Like a ton of shows are using it, like the volume technology, which is like where they build the set in 3D, they put it on the screens, and then we build practical stuff in those sets. But the actors, you're not staring at a green screen anymore.
Yeah, you're
Like,
staring
just
at a video screen.
Really?
Yeah, the sets have been designed
It's
all
amazing.
ahead of time.
It's so amazing.
I have a video I'll send you guys on like behind the
please do.
scenes.
It's like the wall behind you is the set. It's the alien world, and you
No
can see it.
more Jan holding the stick up with a
Correct.
piece of felt and
No.
and orange X on it.
Yeah.
No, and they still have like, you know, the actors, you know,
I did some of my best work with that orange
Same
stick. I'll tell you.
but we're working now with virtual art departments. So we design the set in like a video game world, like Unreal Engine or like Stagecraft is what ILM uses. They design the set. The director, the DP, the designer, they all have this is what it's going to look like. What parts of the set are going to be practical? And that gets handed over to what would be someone like me
Mhm.
getting that stuff built.
And what's your decision making? I mean, how do you
It's just
decide?
like, so this is what's been designed and I'm implement it.
All
So,
right.
but we pick out like the materials, we pick out making sure construction's building it as it was intended. And it's a drawing is an interpretation, right? So then you have to make sure the guy reading the drawing understands this is
Right.
what we want. I mean, we do a lot of previs now, so you can kind of see this is what the intention was.
Does practical sort of piggyback on the digital, or is it the other way around? Or
It's a kind of hand in hand. So like there's a scene in Mandalorian where they're in the desert, right? So they have all these desert rocks and they have the desert ground. And they're pretty big stages, like down in Manhattan Beach. They look like, picture a blue screen, but they're TV screens. And they have little clips that like clip the panels together. So they have different size stages, wall to wall of TVs. So when you're standing there and you're looking at your scene partner and you see desert behind them, so they're able to control like a sunset. They can shoot sunset for 12 hours.
Wow.
And the actors have that to look at. But for us, like we have to pre-design it.
No more losing the light.
No, yeah. but you're in the, but it's great. And so there's some things they're still working out. Like if you focus on it, it's moires, you know, it has like a squiggly feel to it. So it
Right.
kind of has to be out of focus and you still need the set pieces to tie it in, but they're able to pulse, like the screens can be pretty close to you. They used it on Strange New Worlds as a volume stage.
Do they?
Wow.
So they're engineering. You have the engineering, and then you know when it like goes like you're looking at nacelles, or you're looking deep into the ship.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all volume screens.
so I got shown the interior of the warp core on our show.
Oh, we love it.
And
That's
he was like, "Hey, you want to see this?" And I was like, "Yeah, because you think the thing's got must have in the interior of it.
Humming.
It's got to be something remarkable."
Yeah.
And they open up the lid for me to take a look in, and it was literally like I don't know, a disc about a 6 foot.
It was a
disc,
70s disco wheel.
and had like theatrical gels through it
Yeah.
with a light. And I was like, "That's it."
It was round the back of when I had guests come round, I used to take them around the back, and there's a narrow corridor around the back of the walk core, and you literally see, and literally it was a 70s, and you could hear it go. as the color.
That's what you have to work with. You're like, yeah, technology.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going anywhere today.
There's your big walk core.
That's right. Go ahead, push the buttons. It ain't going to do anything.
It doesn't really work.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't actually go warp 5.
Oh my God.
This will come up. Keep it on red.
But part of your job though is to like explain to the actors. Like I had Todd Stashwick, they sent him to nacelle school, which was like I had this nacelle table that we were building, and they set up a meeting, you know, for me to show Todd how to work the table and like what he could play with. And
And
what
he
does
was
what.
hot wiring the nacelle casings. Yeah.
yeah, so he comes in, right? I'm like, all right, this is the nacelle table. Here we made him like a creeper so he could slide in.
Yeah.
And he like put the wrench in his mouth and slid himself in, and I was like, he doesn't need me.
He
at
doesn't
all.
need
But
He's from Chicago.
we had all this stuff like magnets and things. You know, they don't know what actors. You have to tell them like, oh, this stuff is built for you to pull apart. So you can pull this magnets. This pops off, and you can pull all these wires out. We had like props, set deck.
different times.
All of this
Or in
stuff.
Connor's case, you had to tell him what you couldn't pull out.
Yeah.
A break.
Don't touch a
We
damn
had that on
thing.
Promising
break
Young
that.
Woman. There's the scene in the pharmacy where what's his face is he's like exploding chip bags. That was all off. He's a comedian.
Right.
Bo. So yeah, he's going through and he's exploding these chip bags and he's doing all this stuff. And the prop master's like, I only have so many chip bags.
Yeah, it's crazy. The whites in their eyes. They're like, don't do that.
But if we had talked about it, he would know to bring extra. But a lot of the stuff, yeah. But it was like it's one of the best moments in that scene where they're dancing and he's exploding stuff.
Hilarious.
But not planned. And so there's just, a sad person
You're right.
on the prop cart.
How much backup do you have stuff on the bridge, for instance? Do you make things in triplicates in case stuff gets,
If it's handled by the actors, props will have a bunch of them.
You're right. Right.
They will.
That's a good policy.
You people.
You people.
Yeah, and there's even like the team of people there. So like if something, actually also Todd Stashwick, I got a call from the set, hey Liz, there's been an accident. I'm like, oh God. So I come down to the turbo lift and we had these straight up curved, like curly Q TV screens and expensive, like $8,000 in the middle of the turbo lifts. When you walk in, it tells you where you're going. It's like hanging out the back of the set by its HDMI cable. And I was like, oh, so I'm like holding it like this. And like Dave too, actually, it's funny. The two of us were there because it was like lunch or something. And he was doing some stunt and like had fallen, his head had bashed into the TV screen. Like he's okay. The TV was okay, but it was like hanging out the back of the set. I'm so sorry. They got a little excited with the choreography. And then like, luckily, we 911 and a bunch of people come in, like I'll just call like 3 departments and people will come to help us.
Right.
Like, I actually don't have any skills. Like I'm not a painter.
I
don't.
They're like,
I'm
put that down.
Right.
Did they do any of the, did they make any toys from Picard? Did they do anything that was something that you'd built? Like, for instance, do they have the ship? Do they have the bridge? We had action figures.
What do I have here?
Well, that's just a pillow.
I have a pillow.
I have one too.
You can go to Target and they're $19.99.
Not screen used, I might add, Paramount. But this was the jump seat. Is that correct?
Well, it was we make boosters for the actors. And so if you need to like be propped up and you want it to be like seat color.
So I could,
Right.
How's that feel? Yeah, pretty good.
Wow, you're so tall now, Dominic.
You're not getting this back.
And the Enterprise, they didn't need them because their chairs I think they were so familiar with them. It's like Brent got in and he's spinning his chair around and, we had to make sure that the chairs were, perfectly comfortable for everybody, but they didn't need boosters. But in the Titan, they were a little less comfortable. Like they're those leather, like lumpy chairs. So they had Titan booster seats too, in case people needed to be propped up.
But have they built anything? Have they done
so they
anything
did.
for that?
I think they're doing. This toy company, Factory Entertainment, is doing the Enterprise G, which was the Titan, the actual ship. I think that'll be like a replica that you can buy. And I've seen the Picard phasers are cool. They're much like bigger and sleeker than the little Kirk era.
Than the old school ones.
Yeah, but we used Jack. He was like worships Kirk.
He was using a TOS phaser.
Yeah, but like slightly up. He built it himself, but it's newer, but it looks like the Kirk phaser.
Yeah.
So we had some of that vintage.
He built it?
This character built it
Oh.
in the story.
Don't be silly.
No, but like, why would you have like a vintage looking gun? It's like a pistol that you, a sharpshooter.
It's very method, the way he works.
Right.
I build my own phaser.
I don't know. And I haven't seen like the,
I couldn't possibly
1/6
use that prop.
1/6 scale
Right.
things. I think it's too early for them to have them yet. The like action figures.
So you're in the Star Trek family now, and if they do another show, you're on the list. I get to take it.
I hope so.
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
hope they'll take me back.
Yeah, and so you want to be a production designer ultimately. Yeah, that's
the goal.
How far away are you?
Well, I don't know. Someone will have to hire me to
With your
design
luck
something.
as soon as the strike's over.
Yeah.
But that's the next step is to get a small project that needs a designer, or even a project that's like a season 3 or 4.
So like the Shuttlepod show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Who needs a designer for our new space?
your
Oh, yeah.
office.
You might be one in
just
no
to be
time.
clear, you guys have been talking about
We've been
this.
talking about this, yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
The
Make it
orchids
it's
look
are
very,
going.
very exciting for me.
all the plants, plant dead.
Plant
Killed the
aside.
plants already.
Are they all coming to my house? Are they?
Except
But
for
they
Wash,
do-
maybe.
Where's Wash?
He
Where
can
is
stay.
he?
Wash
There
can
he
stay.
is. Wash, darling, you're coming home.
Did you put that behind me? Is that in my shot? The avocado tree?
It's back there.
Rhodos.
Nate actually did it. You can't blame me for it.
You've been working on Peter Berg's new show till it all went tits up a bit. And
We were almost done.
Primeval.
American Primeval.
American Primeval. Well, is it a Western type?
They are not
thing?
calling it a Western. They're
No.
calling it a
sort of American
Right.
Gothic thing,
a
isn't
Gothic drama.
it? Right.
So
But it
it's
is about
in the West.
in the West.
Is it about the traipse out west, or is
Yeah.
it the gold rush? Or
It's like a rush out west, like a
Rush
wagon rush out
right.
west. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about. 'Cause
okay?
It's not been,
right.
but it's like a New Mexico. I could tell you, I do
What
not
an
like,
incredible- so
like
you- one-
westerns.
The last job you're
Send me
in.
back to space.
Really?
Yeah.
You're in the 22nd or 23rd century, and now you're in the 1800s or something.
Yeah, it's actually after Picard, I did this show called Kindred, which was a time travel 1800s. So it's based off this popular book by the same name by Octavia Butler.
Uh-huh.
But it's a story about this girl, this African American girl who gets something happens to her and she keeps getting shot back to the 1800s.
Uh-huh.
And so it's not a good time for her. But it's a super interesting story, because she lives in, modern day, but so she has, modern sensibilities, and she gets like shot back to this like Maryland plantation. So I did that. So that was my first foray into 1800s.
Wow.
And then I did Quantum Leap, and then I did
Oh yes, yeah.
then I did Primeval. So the West is
You did the second season of Quantum.
the first.
First season. So, what's that like?
Well, it's funny. I've
'Cause we
also
obviously-
done
we-
a Scott
we have a
Bakula
connection,
show,
but
but without Scott Bakula.
Yeah, our
Yeah,
boss
right.
was our boss was the original Quantum.
Yeah,
Ziggy, is that the character's name?
the computer.
Yeah.
Dean
It's a little
Stockwell?
hand
Dean
computer.
Stockwell. Yeah. Right. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't watch the original show.
You didn't?
I didn't.
Oh, that
You
was
didn't
the
watch
first
Quantum
any
Leap?
kind of. Can you call it sci-fi?
Oh, boy.
I think so.
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
I think it is. I mean,
It's
time
sci-fi.
travel.
It's
Yeah.
totally sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's
I loved
body
it.
hopping and time
It's
traveling.
musical
at the same
theatre
time.
sci-fi, isn't it?
Yeah, it's musical theater sci-fi.
Right.
But for me, it's a period piece every 7 days
Yeah.
because every time he goes somewhere, they're like, okay, cool. 1970s theater,
How great.
1960s
Yeah.
nuclear facility. Actually, I did that episode with Robert Picardo.
Right,
That's
right.
how Enterprise should have ended, by the way. The finale of Enterprise should have been Scott Bakula leaping out of
And going, oh
Archer
boy.
and going, oh boy, and like somebody else in some other show's, some other person's body. That would have been amazing.
That would have been awesome.
But I've been flip-flopping between the sci-fi and the Western or historical.
Do you like the different? I mean, I would imagine on a 7-day series shoot, going from different periods to different periods is a lot of work.
Yeah, I didn't last very long there.
No.
No, because it's like you want to do a good job, and there's only so
Right.
much you can do in 7 days.
That's a burnout. You
Yeah.
mean you just like
Yeah,
I can't.
So we
do
did,
this.
I did the first 12 episodes and then I got another job.
All right.
But they're still going. I mean, they think they're in season 2 already.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of like, what can you do like sitcom fast?
Hey, you're
You know?
revamping sets all the time, then. And
Yeah, the same set is like the nuclear facility was also the hotel, and
Right.
you've got 7 days to turn it
Yeah.
around. Sometimes they'll buy us a couple extra days, like they'll shoot the headquarters stuff on the first 2 days of the next episode to buy me like 2 days or us 2 days because it's like a huge art. Like we need like 3 art directors just running all of this, and you're
Right.
shooting location and you're building stuff, and you're in the Wild West one episode, and then you're in 1990s spaceship.
Jesus, where are we going
You know?
now?
Yeah. So they keep making new places to go.
All right.
But it was a good exercise in like every genre.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, did you ever? You've never cut yourself on said plexiglass, but I do know because I was there. We were at a party a couple of weeks ago. You didn't come to the party, did you?
Oh no, but I've
Yeah.
heard about it.
I heard
What are the
about
two
the party,
saddest
yeah.
words in Hollywood? What party?
Oh, that's really true.
True and sad.
So what happened at
Oh,
the party? We were all having a good time.
So I just met you guys
Yeah,
recently,
that's
right?
right.
So we're in Vegas.
yeah.
I go to a party there. You guys are sitting having dinner. I'm sitting having dinner. It's fun. We all meet.
That's when we first met.
That's
yeah.
when we met. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in a party bus. I see you guys there. Everyone's dancing. It's fun.
I wasn't at that one either.
You weren't. It's like we never met.
You were- yeah.
Do you
been
want to
to
be on the
multiple-
list?
A few times I've met these people in party situations. And so we went to this party recently with this lovely man, Star Trek fan.
Dave Tab.
Yeah, his wife's
Dave.
birthday.
Shout out, Dave. It was Michelle's birthday.
Yeah.
Shout out, Michelle.
Happy birthday.
So we're at this party and it's pretty early, right? Like 9:00. And I'm like, I'm not drunk enough to be here. So I go to the bar to fix myself a drink. And I spend a long time discussing with the bartender what the drink is going to be because it has to be good. And I didn't like the previous one, yada, yada. So I get this full like rocks glass full of like whiskey and things in it. And I go to...
Was it good?
No, I don't know
things.
because I never got a chance to drink it.
Oh.
So I'm with my, and it's like also the place, you've been there, right? The place is dark. There's strobe lights and like things happening and musicians and there's a lot going on.
It's a lot for an old person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me.
So I have this cup in my hand, this drink, and I'm walking back to the table and then Terry Matalis is sitting at the table. I said, I'm going to go say hi to Terry, right? Boss man,
Mhm.
like executive producer of my show.
Yep.
The director.
Take a deep breath.
Oh, you mean Brannan's
Just
assistant?
having right-
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
Dominic.
like,
You're never going to work for Terry Matalis. You know that, right?
So, get us a cup of coffee,
it's
mate.
like super cool. Also, I'm at the same party as Terry Matalis. No, sorry, Matalis.
yeah.
I've been screwing his last name up. Terry Matalis. I'm sorry, Terry.
He's right behind you.
Yeah.
He's listening.
He's like,
Thank you, Terry.
The eyes move. The eyes move.
Oh, man,
Oh,
he's-
that's creepy.
I got to tell the whole
We
story.
should do
I said his last name wrong. He's corrected me before, and I'm like, trying to be cool. Terry Matalis.
Got it.
You did
I
it.
screwed up his last name. Okay, so I go over to say hi to him. All right, I'm gonna put my hand on him. I'm gonna say with my drink, put my drink down, and say hi. How are things going? And I put my drink on the side of the table like this,
That works.
Yeah.
and it fell down, and immediately splashed on the
Shattered.
floor, and then splashed him in the face.
Yeah, I did watch it all happen.
Like it's all over, like chocolate milk. I'm an ensign. And he's the
Right.
Picard.
Oh, yeah.
It's all over me.
Ensign
Ensign.
Gomez.
Right.
Right? Splashed him
Yes,
in the face.
Ensign, it's all
Splashed
over
me
me.
in the face. Yes, Ensign, it's all
thank
over me.
God it wasn't on the carpet.
There's a girl next to us who I don't know what her name was, but she had a backless dress. Her back was turned to us, all over her back.
Good God.
Oh.
It was like the perfect storm of a drink.
But this isn't midnight, right? This isn't like Liz in her 20s. This is like classy Liz.
right.
Still does the
9
same
o'clock
thing.
in the evening.
So, and it was like, everyone's like, how drunk is she? And I'm like, I didn't even get a chance to drink the drink. Right? So it hits the ground.
I did lean over to Sarah and go, oh, she's pissed.
I go to the bar, I get a towel. I'm toweling him off, right? Like, I'm so sorry. He's like, it's okay. It's okay. So everyone's trying to clean themselves off, right? All of a sudden, like,
What's the blood?
No. I go to the bathroom to clean myself off and, extract all the shame. So I go there.
Extract the shame.
I look at the floor. Meanwhile, Erica's doing her hair in the bathroom, right? She's in there. I come in and then I look at the floor and all of a sudden there's blood everywhere. Everywhere.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
This is like carrot.
Really?
Yeah. So I look down and I'm like, oh, who's bleeding?
You.
So the rocks glass, it had just fallen. I had 2 peep toe shoes, 2 toes sticking out of my shoes, and it just landed on my toe knuckle.
Mhm.
Right? It was the tiniest of tiny paper cuts, but I'm bleeding like profusely.
Stuck pig.
A stuck pig. So I'm like, oh God. And so Erica looks at me, right? She's like, oh, we gotta. So she's helping me clean everything up, but the blood is still coming out.
You got an artery. They got an artery there.
And now women are coming into the bathroom like it's a biohazard. Right?
Right.
It's like not good.
Slipping
Oh my
and
gosh.
falling.
Someone is bleeding. The owners have been called of this place. And I'm like,
Oh, it's a Michelin star restaurant too.
yeah, it's a fancy place we're
Yeah.
at. It's a white bathroom floor. I'm like, dear God. So Erica helps me with a paper towel, right? We tourniquet my toe. And then I'm like, we got to clean the blood up. So we're down there and like paper towels dish. And the minute the blood's gone, everyone looks around and like they kind of reset. And the Sims, and they go back to normal.
Yeah.
But at that point,
That's funny.
it's like so then at that point, there's all these men outside the women's room, like the owner, the security, and all these people. Do you need a
of course
Band-Aid?
It's quite a
Do you need a
kerfuffle.
Band-Aid?
Yeah. I do need a Band-Aid. I'm gonna have Band-Aid. I have a picture. It's a blue Band-Aid on my toe. The minute I Band-Aid everything up, we refresh. We go back to the table. So I get back to the table. I'm pretending like nothing happened. Right? Garrett is like
Garrett Wong.
Garrett Wong. Where's Liz? What is going on? Did you guys? Who's bleeding? Everyone's talking about. So apparently,
he was already tweeting.
There was a trail of blood from the bar table we were at all the way to the women's room.
You had no idea.
No, because you don't know you're bleeding until
It's not a good look.
Meanwhile, Terry is gone. He leaves. Everyone's like,
He's like, there's too much blood and drink on
I'm
me.
covered in alcohol.
I came here not covered in alcohol.
he sends me this meme of this like Outlander of the drink being.
Oh, that's funny.
He's a funny man.
But it was the blood on the floor. It made things a lot worse than it was. And now I'm sitting there and there's like Anthony from your show and all these people dancing.
He wants to dance.
Trying to have fun. And I'm like,
Ow.
no, it didn't hurt.
Didn't hurt yet.
No, but Erica helped me clean the blood up. So anyways, that's the
I was happy to
story.
help you.
God bless.
Thank you.
How's the toe?
It's fine.
Yeah.
I woke up the next morning like, what have I done?
With an IV in your arm.
Oh no. But this is like, so you get invited somewhere, you try to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, obviously I don't get invited to fancy things.
Hey,
and I never will again.
You made can.
Oh,
Rude.
too soon.
He's mean.
But that's recent. Yeah, it's just a couple weeks ago now.
What did I read at the end? So in this in this enforced lockdown now, you're doing is it something to do with car mechanics or something? Unreal.
Oh, Unreal Engine. So that's what I was telling you guys
so
about.
what is that?
So that's the stagecraft, the volume screens that so you don't have to, actors don't have to look at green screen anymore. You look at the TV.
Oh, that's what that is.
Designing the set in 3D.
Right.
Unreal Engine it's a free program,
Right.
but they use it to make video games.
Yeah.
So a lot of art directors are learning it because we want to work with the virtual art department. So there's virtual art department and they're all the, button clickers, like they're really designing the set before it's, I mean, that's the vision.
Right.
And then, I'll take it over when it's practical, but I just felt like it was a good skill to have. So I got into this Unreal Connectors course and they certify you in the program. So
Okay.
That's really cool.
it's pretty advanced computer stuff. And even so my class last night was the first one. It was like probably the hardest class. And you get lost because you're following somebody and you watch him click it and then you're doing the same thing, but he's explaining to you why you're clicking this thing. And it's not just like save, it's like, like complicated nodes and everything connects to everything. And they all have, it's like, computer programming.
Wow.
But I'm pretty good with I'm pretty proficient in most, SketchUp, Rhino, Photoshops, all of that stuff I'm pretty fast with. And I'm keeping up. But I was like, ooh, I'm going to watch the replay of this. And they tape it. So I usually watch every class twice to make sure I'm understanding what they're
So is this the next wave of there's going to be no more green screen?
No, but I think the stagecraft is so great because it's or the volume stuff. It's great because they shoot it in camera. So most of the stuff that they have, the light is on you. So say you have a glass, the reflection of what's on the screens is on the glass. So
Wow.
VFX doesn't have to do reflections. They don't have to do anything. It's there. Yeah, it's flat. And when you're standing there, you can realize eventually the actors can't walk anymore because they'll hit the screens.
The edge of the screen, yeah.
But it's
That's when we stop and bump and turn around and do it again.
Yeah.
And then we stop and bump and turn around.
No, and they do put set pieces in the front of it to throw you off from having I watched this other show. It's on Netflix called 1899. They shot it during COVID. It's an fully international cast on a boat, like a Titanic type boat. So they built the boat sets, but all of the boat out on the ocean is on this soundstage with those screens.
Wow.
So the screens are playing the ocean and they have the boat built on a gimbal. So people are it's a storm and giant water effects on them, but they're doing all of that in camera.
Wow.
And so now VFX, I mean, yeah, you still do.
They still got Larry and Dave throwing buckets of water on people.
That was a bit hard, that last one. Come on, Larry.
But I watched the show and it was 100%, or not 100%. They had one set. They went out on location to this mental asylum, but they could COVID kind of close it down.
Right.
But all of their other sets are done on with these screens.
All
and
right.
some of it you watch it and you're like, looks a little flat. People are still learning how to do it. If they need to see the background in focus, well, we have this 3D model built in Unreal Engine. You give it to VFX, they can replace the screen. So on some things where they need the background to be in focus, they'll turn the TV screens to green or to blue. And then that's a VFX shot. We still have Picard, we didn't use that at all. We just used blue screen and they VFX'd everything and it looked great. But having that, you're looking outside the view screen and you can see where you're going. How cool is that?
amazing.
That is cool.
But they do it. They showed us the Art
That's
Directors
a
Guild did a
huge
demo.
plus for the actor too. I mean, we used to find that the hardest part. I always thought, was staring out staring out of the shuttle,
imagination. You had
no
staring out of
idea.
the shuttle pod at that X on the C stand,
Not knowing what it was.
and that's Enterprise blown up on the
Right.
an act to that. That's to my money. That's when we're if you can sell that, you're doing really well.
Right.
You know?
Your job is so hard.
Yeah.
I don't envy you guys. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is
Yeah.
not for me.
Yeah.
I mean, Connor and I were just talking about how like he was like, if they asked him to build a set or we need this stuff now, he'd be like, yep, it's not going to happen.
Not gonna happen. You're gonna have to deal with what we got.
He'd call me.
You'd have to reply to emails. You know that, don't you?
That's not part of the job description.
Yeah, it is though. It is.
Boom.
No, on the weekend, you get this email. We're changing everything for Monday morning. I'm like, no, I'm not relaxing.
Ah.
But I don't envy what you guys do either.
Occasionally. He's gonna say, "Oh no, I'm gonna."
No, but like
have a drink. Though.
imagine what's going outside this view screen, or like go to
I
that
think
dark place.
Yeah.
You're so sad now. I'm like, am I? I don't know.
I don't feel sad.
No.
I think that work that you guys are doing with all that technology is really exciting because suddenly everyone in the room knows, or they're on the same page
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
away.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
all these different department heads are like, oh, I get it. And you don't have to explain it to them. in
Their
meeting after
meetings they
meeting.
do with the Oculus, so they all put on their
No way.
yeah, because the set's already designed.
Yeah.
So they all walk around in it, and then they have little pointers. So the DP says, "Oh, I would love some windows right here." Zip, 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 zip.
Wow.
And
Wow.
he with a little red pen he does it, and then the art department it says, oh, "Okay, great." And by the next day, they know exactly where the DP wants the windows.
Right.
It's in a Zoom meeting.
That is so
They
cool.
walk through with the decorator. Hey, we want some furniture here. We want some stuff there.
Wow.
So they all can do that. So the hard thing about it for art department is that all of that has to be designed ahead of time. So the whole set has to be done before you guys have that meeting. So if we don't have it designed, that's why we didn't use it on Picard, was because none of that VFX stuff was, the ships and all of that exterior stuff wasn't designed. But we need to be brought on earlier so that we have that time to design the stuff. So now you have the set, so you can throw it up on the view screens and then start building this stuff.
That's why I was asking you, like, which comes first? Is it the digital or the practical? And now there's a point.
I guess you're right. It is the digital. And then from there, you figure out what they in this software, they can figure out where the screens are going to go. So like they showed us a demo. It was like a bar, like a Western bar. And they were moving the screen and they moved it all the way in to just behind the bartender. So the screen was the back bar. So they were like, okay, we don't have to buy that. So the bartender's in front of it. He's got the front bar. And then they have 2 tables. And then they move the screen in front of the bartender, right? And so there's, recording or whatever of that person, but he's off camera. And they populate it full of like metahumans and like they're all VFX people.
Oh my
They're
God.
getting so good at this technology. And their actors are still recording that stuff, but they're able to use that to populate the rooms with them. So in the further forward they move the screen, that kind of the more fake it looks. The further back, in my mind, like in Mandalorian, they did this like beautiful forest, and yeah, they had some trees there, but they had like 5 trees, and the rest of it was Unreal or the volume screens.
Do you think that extras are going to become irrelevant?
I hope not.
I hope not too.
I hope
How
not.
about
You always need that foreground pass.
Well, that's something with your strike,
So you'll
right?
always have
It
one.
is.
So they're talking about like they want to
yes.
scan somebody and then own them forever, right? Well, that's not just the actor, right? There's a makeup person. So one day of work, the actor works to get scanned.
Yeah.
The makeup person has one day of work. The hair person has one day of work. The costumer does. I don't even have any work because they're scanning them to use them in a 3D. I'll have work when we build the VFX stuff.
right?
But if you take that away, so then that's one day of work and then they own that person forever. So now all those people don't have work ever again.
Right.
If the actor gets residuals, which as they should, you're still looking at costumes, hair and makeup, they're in a different union.
Mhm.
So none of those people, so for every day of work, for us, days worked equals pay.
Yeah.
We don't get residuals,
No.
we're below the line.
Got to be
people.
working.
We're blue collar people.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like people ask me, oh, what's the biggest money that you've made on a project? And I'm like, I make the same on every project, basically.
Right.
Like, I'm a
Like-
Worcester girl. What do you think?
Signing photographs at STLV.
That's true.
How did you get rid of your accent?
Oh, you just train it out. No, I
Yeah.
think one time I was in Palm Springs at a party and I said, oh, I'm going to Walmart after this. And the girl was like, say it again. And I was like, I became like a variety show. you know, and I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. So just take it away. But when I go home, like my family, they have accents. And so I just bring it back
You do.
to fit in.
You can
You're
just
like
you can jump in.
But I can't
Otherwise-
do accents like actors can.
No, but
You know?
well, you're your childhood one. Yeah,
Yeah. The one that sticks with
for
you. Like
life.
my childhood home videos. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, who is that? like talking.
Ma!
Like
It's a strong accent.
It's super strong.
Yeah.
it's gone.
When did you decide you wanted to lose that? When you came to LA? And
After the lady made fun of me in Palm Springs, I probably shouldn't do this anymore.
That happened to me my first year here. Some people were constantly making fun of me about my accent.
we're in Minnesota.
I had a Minnesota accent, and
Yeah.
that's why I talk the way I do now, because that doesn't sound like I'm from Minnesota.
But I also noticed like the more local you are, and like the working class people, like bartenders, barbacks, firefighters, like those type of people have accents.
Yeah.
But like you go to college and somehow it goes away.
yeah.
But not everybody. Like English people, it stays. So like I have a friend from New
they
Zealand.
like it that way.
Yeah, they're taught how to speak, and it's something you can't.
That's because they think they
Nice.
won.
You mean the skirmish?
Which one are you talking about?
Your war of independence.
Funny, if you won, you're still
We got
speaking our
bored. We
language.
just got bored with it.
Did we tell you to wear red? Spread out a little.
So like my English accent just goes back to like transcontinental
Right.
America. Like I'm like De Niro. I'm the same person.
Yeah, Mum would never let me talk with a Leicester accent. I'd get a poke in the eye for
Which
that
is
one.
what?
It's a tricky one, and I don't even do it very well. It's not a northern; it's a Midlands. It is like it's a bit flat like that, and it's down through your nose like that. But yeah, like that.
Mm.
What was the one expression my mate used to be able to do? Oh, I shall have to dip home for it. You don't
What?
even know what
What'd you
I said.
say?
do you? I shall have to dip home for it.
I shall have to debut.
I shall have to nip home for it.
No.
Oh, when
Oh,
we
God.
got my car keys, oh, I shall have to nip home for it.
Oh God.
It's
all like
as
gibberish, yeah.
It's as gibbery as that, and it really is.
And it just sort of sits in a flat line.
A flat line. Oh, you devil. Oh, like, just right down your nose like that.
It's all like one month. Like
It's
one-
coming back.
Yeah.
But honestly, if I ever came home talking like that, I'd get a right slap for that. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She was a stickler for that. I think, and as an actor, it's important that you can do accents, and certainly a regional one. But more importantly is that you can speak with an accentless voice that doesn't denote exactly where you're going from. That you have that choice.
Right.
An actor has one of the biggest tool in their toolbox is your voice. It really is.
Yeah.
It just is.
Well, impressions too. I mean, that's part of it. Like
Yeah.
if you're George W. Bush,
Mhm.
you did it.
He does. He does a good Bush.
I
I
did
was
it.
like,
And he does a
I
great-
remember that. I never watched Enterprise, but I was like, oh, American Made. I remember George Bush.
You pilot.
You pilot.
That's
You
so
pilot.
funny.
He also does a good McConaughey.
He does a very
do a
good.
good
Uh-huh.
All right.
All right. We're going to get Harrelson here and roll a couple of J's and play some bongos.
Before we do that,
Yeah.
I think it's time.
Yeah.
Fan question.
I think we do some fan questions.
Yeah.
I don't know why my McConaughey has to have Harrelson with him all the time, but he
Yeah,
does.
Yeah.
See,
That's the
you know.
best, that's the best McConaughey.
Right.
They're two peas in a pod.
I love that show.
Are you ready for fan questions?
Oh God, yes.
Okay. Great. Michael Adam Goodwill from Patreon asks, what was the biggest difficulty you and the team faced in getting the Enterprise D bridge looking just right?
Probably stopping people from trying to change it because
Oh.
people want to update the lighting. They, we're shooting in 4K now, so people are like, "Oh, things are different now," and I'm like, "Meh, it's the same. Like it needs to be the same." It's this.
You mean the crew?
Yeah, like the lighting people or the us building stuff. Like, oh, could we just change it a little bit because it's easier? Or even me, I could have thrown some dumb red carpet down. So
Right.
it's like trying to keep us from changing it because we want to or because we can.
Because
Yeah.
it's easy, makes it easier.
The only change I allowed was Mike Akuda adding cup holders to the jump seats.
Because when Mike Akuda asks for something,
Mike Akuda gets it.
yeah.
Yeah, cup holders in those.
No, so the little jump seats, there's this piece of black plexi, and there weren't really good photos of them. And so I saw it was black, but I was like, I called Mike and I said, Mike, what is this black thing? Like, do we put anything on it? Like, it's shiny. He's like, oh, I'll do something for it. Thanks. And then like sent back like this, just a little outline of this cup holder. And actually I had to print it a couple of times until I figured out the best look for it. But the minute Terry sat down in the captain's chair, he was like, oh. Put his
That's a
Starbucks
really
right
good
down.
idea.
Yeah.
Was there a little metal flip-up cigarette
No,
ashtray?
it's plexi.
Right.
It's plexi and they're magnetized. So when the ship does stuff, it
for the
magnetizes.
smoking section?
Oh.
It's that
Wow.
chair.
And it heats it up or cools it depending on what you. But it's
Ah.
it's a graphic printed on plexi.
Right.
But yeah, that we did. But you see, it's hard. Even Mike Okuda could like he had to change something.
Yeah.
But it was that to me is like a evolution.
Right.
It's like adding to it. But even like we had the lights, the side lights were blue, and then they warmed them up a little whiter because they looked better on the actors. And that's hard to like. No, it should be. I can't tell the lighting man what color to make the lights.
Right.
It's his job,
Right.
and we respect each other's roles. But it's also trying to like, and the people were pretty good about like Terry would be like, call Liz here. We have a question. I go down and, answer, oh, it was like this because,
Mhm.
and I give them the explanation.
Who was the
Mhm.
DP and the lighting gaffer on that
Oh,
show?
those guys are awesome.
Was it always the same?
It's two guys. So they alternate episodes.
Okay.
So they have time to prep.
That's
Crescenzo.
That's new.
Crescenzo, Notarili did odd episodes, and then John Joffin did even episodes.
Not kidding,
Those were,
right.
yeah, they were great. But yeah, it's like, you're
That's-
trying to not tell the guy what to do, but you're
Mm.
also like, oh, this is how the set was.
Right. I need this.
I'm like the librarian. I just give
Right.
them the here's their, but it's hard. It's like a line that you
Right.
you work together
Dance
with all these
around.
people. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
That's probably the hardest.
Karen Downey from Patreon asks, are there any behind-the-scenes Easter eggs in the rebuild D-bridge, like your signature underneath the captain's chair, for example?
Oh yeah, the captain's arms. So the way they built the captain's chair, they're these like leather inserts, and they built them removable for some reason. So there's like this cute little hidey hole. So I called Jeff, the prop master. I said, hey, do you have any props you can put in the captain's arm, like chewing gum or coins?
Tic-tacs.
Yeah, things.
Coins.
And normally when you ask for, like, it's never going to be seen
Spare
on camera,
change.
right? These guys like roll their eyes and they're like, extra work. He was like, yep, I got it. No problem. And so I forgot about it. And we came back, and when we opened it, there was a parking ticket from Deep Space Nine and like some Ferengi coins and asteroids. They look like Altoids.
Oh my God.
Like
That's awesome.
so good.
Oh,
you
I
know,
love
there's
that.
like
Brilliant.
a little like tchotchke, like something Picard would have. Like a
Where are they?
statue.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
Props has them.
Half smoked J.
But the parking ticket was cute because
We're
we
going
had
to Warp 6.
In a minute.
But we had when the Okudas and Doug and all them came back, Frakes was directing next door, and so he like escaped and came to say hi to them. The set was done. I actually knew they were coming, so I dressed up. I'm like, oh, there will be photos. So I'm like, I'm there.
Yeah, I saw you dressed up.
Oh yeah, but Frakes was like, "Oh, you look nice today." Because I'm in my pajamas most of the time.
Right.
Like this whole thing?
Yeah, I was like making effort. But so they were all there. So we took a photo. He sits in the captain's chair and he opened the arm and he was like, "Oh, a parking ticket," and he like hands it to Terry. Like it was the cutest
Oh
thing
my
ever.
God, that's awesome.
Terry's like, "Oh, yeah, put it on. We're already over budget." So yeah, the Easter eggs in the captain's chair were good. Maybe they might still be there
Mm.
if we didn't take them out and we sent that.
If we
to
only
the,
knew
yeah.
where the chair was.
That's right.
yeah, we got to figure that out.
All right. Kristen Bell from Patreon asks, Star Trek has used some pretty different aesthetic influences in its series, from retro futurism in the original series to more military realism in Enterprise. Do you have a personal favorite?
I like the living room, like the Andy
Do you?
Provert, yeah, Enterprise D.
Wrong answer.
I'm also the mother of the Enterprise D, so maybe I'm a
A
little.
little bit biased on that.
Yeah, but Picard though does follow that militaristic. Like they're much more, shiny floors, small rooms, like Enterprise.
Mm.
But I like the Herman Zimmerman was like, oh, let's make it like these people are in space their whole lives.
Yes.
Let's make it comfortable.
Yes, this was. I remember you talking about that, and hence the carpet.
Right.
That
Yeah,
they
the padded
it
walls.
wouldn't be a
Yeah.
functional sort of
Plants. There was
hard
plants
floor.
in the corridors in the first season.
Yeah.
At least.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, they do. We'll talk about space plants here. We'll
Okay.
make a blue plant like
All right.
Joyce
Space
quarters.
plants. That's
But
cool.
I mean,
I
I'm in a
couldn't
shot.
believe the first thing you said to me after watching a bunch of our episodes was how much you hated our
I
plants.
loved our sets.
I love our plants.
Oh, I did too.
I thought they did an amazing job.
No,
but,
I told him I hate the orchids, but you're talking about the Enterprise
Yeah.
sets are
Yeah,
great. No,
yeah.
it's fun because they're like
Minimalist.
Your sets were great.
Just the fact that it was an experimental ship going out into the nether regions of space, and that it was a functional, hardworking,
It was very between here and there technologically.
And it was modeled after a nuclear sub.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It does have a
and
sub
it was
feel,
a
yeah.
tight
The hatches
tight space.
and the
Right.
little
And you-
Nothing
you-
to spare. and that
yeah.
kind.
I mean,
Yeah.
God knows we did bang our heads a lot on,
Oh.
not least in the shuttle pod. Do you remember that
Oh, God,
episode?
the shuttle pod.
Oh, I banged my head on that shuttle pod so many times.
I don't know how many times I threw my back out trying to get out of the shuttle pod.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Seriously.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's funny.
yeah. What we would have done for lycra and carpets, I tell you.
All right. Sean O'Sullivan from Twitter asks, what plans have you for the new Shuttle Pod Show studio? I'm thinking Defiant Bridge.
See, people want a bridge. People want the spaceship.
People keep mentioning the bridge on our social medias. A lot of
Do
people
they?
talk
So
about
it's
the bridge,
doable. So I mean, it's not a big space, right? So it's money wise, we can make it look like a spaceship. We were talking about doing like mid-century modern Kirk era furniture and like a classy. Yeah.
Show the book.
I'll show this. I have this reference book. I brought them today to be
Oh, look at
excited
that.
about
Posh book.
mid-century modern furniture. So we could do that with some, like Cucaloris type things, like grates and throwing the fun colors, which I think would be like, you guys already kind of do that. You have that aesthetic. But making this a shuttle pod would be an undertaking.
Am I going to wear polo necks?
Expensive.
And have a cigarette
Yeah, I
holder?
can only imagine.
Yes.
With a-
Connor's
with a
like, if you build a
martini.
shuttle pod here, I will not be getting into it.
But I think we'll do a shuttle pod door, like their entry doors. If we do that as like an entrance, much smaller, and you still get the
Oh,
shuttle pod
fun.
entrance open to their nice studio.
That's kind
Which
of fun.
brings us swiftly to, we need help. We really need your help. If you want to see that, become a sustaining member. Go to our website, please, and donate. Thank you.
Yay.
Liz's art budget.
Liz's
Yes,
art
I
budget.
want that
there
in
you go.
the comments so
That's
that money
right.
goes to my.
Liz's art budget.
Because we would
check
love
here.
to facilitate that. We really
I'd love-
would.
I'd love to
And
do
now that we
that.
have our permanent space, we can achieve that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
a lot of people have been asking about it. So I know that there's a lot of people who would want to chip in to make it an awesome permanent space, to make it the space that.
And we don't have to go crazy. Like
No.
I had some stuff we would design things on.
Not like
on
the bloke in
Picard.
Trekkies 2. That council flat. Do you remember? I always love that. He was the best. He turned his council flat into the bridge of, I think, Next
Of
Generation.
course he did.
And the only window that opened was in the Kazi. It was a tiny window. You
Oh,
could,
Jesus.
yeah. Denise asked him, so what did all this cost you? He goes, well, the wife left me.
Oh no!
But you could do it incrementally.
that's my
Small,
favorite.
Oh no!
and I think each area will have a little vignette and you do that like bit by bit. So like Mark's cage, we'll do like an engineering cage for Mark
Fun.
back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the cool
The
shapes.
1960s cage, the
Yeah.
hexagons or whatever they are.
We'll
We'll
do
take it out of the Phantom of the Opera.
I think it should be a brig.
No, I think it should be a tiny men's room.
In,
outside.
What was what did we, I got that question wrong a couple of weeks ago. What was the torture room on
Oh,
Mirror
the,
Darkly 2? I thought it was all of the above, but it wasn't. It was the
No.
torture room or something,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
The scream of fire. What the
Yeah.
hell was that?
Anyway, we're building a screamer fire for you.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
and then
Yeah.
the front and the back doors will be cool. So that's all. It's LA, right? You open the door and you're like, oh,
World.
I'm entering a world.
Right.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah.
hmm
Immersive.
hmm
Yes.
But it's just the door. Like I went to a bar one time and it was a vending machine. Was the door?
The agony booth.
And you, yeah.
The agony.
Or
Agony booth.
we have to enter
Sorry.
the agony booth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like they open it and they're like, oh, do you need a snack? And I'm like, no. And then she opens it and it's open to this like 80s bar, But
Right.
I
Like a
went to the
speakeasy
vending-
or
Yeah.
just
yeah, but that's like the thing now.
Right.
Is like
Yeah.
speakeasy entrance. Like you can still go to it,
Yeah.
but they set it up so that you're entering through a
Yes.
Portal.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Portal door. We'll
Right.
do that.
There's a joint in Vegas we went to, not this year, but the year before. I made the mistake of our first night going out there with Lisa and Stacy and the gang.
I didn't go to that one either.
You didn't know. What party?
Yeah, what party?
Not even I got to go to that part.
right, lovely.
I wouldn't be invited either, so it's okay. She'll spill the drink on you.
The three of you can come in, but not that one. She bleeds all over the place.
Oh, no.
We have one last fan question from, it's Riles on Instagram. Hi, Riley. Quantum Leap. Was there any pressure to live up to the original show, or was everyone excited for the new direction it was taking?
That's a good question. So I want, you know me, I'm like, reboot show. Watch the old show.
Yeah.
Bring that back to the new show. This Quantum Leap did not want to do that. So I was a little disappointed because it was kind of going its own direction. Like Easter eggs. You know, we get cited in Star Trek for doing too many Easter eggs. There's never too many Easter eggs. Like
There can never be too many Easter eggs. I agree with you.
But we didn't do any in Quantum Leap. And so that was, for me, that's just about me
that makes it
personally.
boring.
Yeah, it's like,
What a missed
we had the
opportunity.
Ziggy and we did the stuff, and Al Calavicci's daughter is in it. You know, there's a little bit, but it's not as much. It's not as many Easter eggs.
She's an Easter egg.
Yeah, I'm just a giant Easter egg.
You are the Easter egg.
My paint all wore off.
Now we got trivia.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, is that where we are?
Trivia.
Okay.
It's very simple.
He wins. We lose.
Actually, we've done pretty well. But it's the three of us against the Oracle. Mark.
So, are you guys ready for some Star Trek trivia?
Yes.
All right. It's the three of you against Mark, Connor, Dominic, and Liz. You are playing for Harvey Lewitt.
Harvey.
Our newest
All right,
Patreon
Harvey.
member.
Yeah.
We win.
Or is he our newest patron?
You get a car.
No, he's a newish. No.
You're newish. Thanks
I believe
for
he's
coming on. And you're playing for?
I'm playing for our shiniest, brand newest member, who is, as of this moment, Sean Snyder.
Sean.
Sean.
Yay, Sean.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Sean.
Guys, I'm very competitive. We have to win.
You got this.
We will.
All right. Question number 1. In which episode of The Next Generation were the Borg introduced? A. I, Borg. B. Q Who. C. The Best of Both Worlds, Part 1. Or D. Encounter at Farpoint.
Mark.
I think it's in
Q
Q.
Who. It's Q Who.
It's Q Who.
It's
Yeah.
Q who?
It's Q Who. Yeah. Damn it.
There we go.
That's what I thought.
My button didn't work, but it's okay.
No,
Sorry. We're a team.
You guys know how to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 2. What piece of equipment found on the Enterprise was Dr. McCoy not a fan of using? A.
Mark.
A. Shuttlecraft. B. Phaser. C. Transporter. Or D. Computer.
Press the button.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
What do
do
we
you guys
think it
think?
is?
It's not phaser.
I think it's a computer.
I think it's the
Okay.
computer.
But I don't, because he's always complaining to Spock, but I can't remember now what it, those are things like your phone, you forget where it
Are we
is.
going with that? What do you
Computer?
You think a transporter?
I'm good with computer.
One- so-
they
wait a
were
second.
always doing
The transporters were not working a lot, and people get, transmogrified by the transporter.
Transmogrified.
But-
is that all scrambled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the computer, is he hard?
Let's go with transport.
Not a phaser, because
I don't ever remember him complaining
the
about
phasers
transporter.
explode. Why do I not know this? Dude, Scott Mance is going to kill me, but I can't answer this simple question.
I know the answer.
Are we right or wrong?
I think, given he's a doctor.
Or wrong?
I
The phaser?
I would pick the transporter.
Okay, let's go with transporter. Yes!
That's
Oh
good.
my gosh.
Woo! Good
Well
job.
done, mate.
Because the transporters mess people up in the first.
Yeah.
in the-
Well, yeah, good.
Medical issue.
And,
In the motion picture, the science officer and another crew member to
Vulcans,
melt
they get-
on the transporter.
that was my line
And
in
you
the
hear them
pilot
like,
for fruits and vegetables
Yeah.
only.
Okay,
Right.
good.
yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're 2 for 2. All right, this could be good. This is
2 for
good.
2,
Yeah,
baby.
you're doing well. Okay.
Stay focused.
Question number 3. In the Deep Space Nine episode Defiant, who steals the Defiant to help fight for the Maquis? A. A. Michael Eddington. B. Cassidy Yates. C. Miles O'Brien. Or D. Thomas Riker.
Marks.
Oh.
Thomas Riker.
Yeah.
All right.
Eddington was
My button is not working.
That one
That
threw
means
me
you're
for a
on it.
loop almost.
Question number 4. Starfleet General Order 12 refers to what? A. Communications with an approaching vessel. B. Landing party procedures. C. Seniority of command. Or D. First contact with an alien species.
Mark.
Oh, not a clue, but, but we
General
got
Order
there.
12.
So
Rings a bell.
Okay.
I'm actually making this one up. Okay,
Is it from a particular series or is it
they
just
use it
in
no,
general?
It's so over.
It's a general order.
It feels like it would be D, doesn't it? How to deal with a new species.
Well, no, 'cause
C was the command.
Dealing with a new species is what is this like that's the first contact. That's not
prime
General Order
directive.
12. That's
Right.
Prime Directive.
Right. Okay.
I
so
want
not
to
that.
say it's C.
C.
Oh,
Mark.
what is it?
Approaching other vessels.
Oh,
Damn.
I got that
Uh-oh.
wrong.
From Star
Two-
Trek
2 to
2,
2.
Saavik tries to tell Kirk, and Kirk kind of
General Order
Spock like
12.
whose shoes are off.
Kirstie Alley Savick or other Savick?
Kirstie Alley Saavik. And then Kirk is like, you go on telling me regulations. You know?
So what are we 2 on 2?
Oh, we're
Yeah.
2 out of 2. 242.
Okay, this is the winning question.
We're
Yeah.
gonna do it. I got the first question, so I'm all right. I feel my confidence
did
is on my part.
Yeah.
You did your
Put
job.
this down. I don't need it anymore.
Question number 5. Which ship in Starfleet's Ship Museum was a tribute to Picard Season 3 showrunner Terry Matalas? A, the USS Enterprise A, B, the USS New Jersey, C, the NX-01 Enterprise, or D, the HMS Bounty?
Mark.
I got it.
Okay, so it's either the NX-01 because he was on Enterprise, but if it was the New Jersey because Terry's from New Jersey, which one was actually seen in the show?
I know.
Is there a New Jersey
I'm
ship?
gonna say NX-01.
Oh, yeah.
Mark.
It was in New Jersey?
The New Jersey.
Oh, fuck off.
Which was a
You were
Constitution
close.
class.
I said it.
Yeah.
I said it.
How could there be a f***ing spaceship called the New Jersey?
Holy shit, I came back from behind. You,
You
guys
did.
were up 2 now.
Wow.
Actually, 1-3-2.
Sorry,
Who am I
what's
playing
their
for? I'm playing
name?
for Snyder.
The New Jersey?
It was what I told you. It was
Yeah.
one of those 2.
Yeah.
But which one would they put in the museum?
Sean Snyder.
Is
Congratulations.
that bad? I didn't get it, and it was on my own show.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Sean. And then you guys all congratulate Harvey Lewitt for losing.
Sorry, Harvey
Harvey.
Lewitt, for
Sorry, dude.
losing for you your
We
car.
came close.
That was a fun one.
That was not fun.
That
No.
was close.
That was losing. Is what that was.
Trek.
That was.
It's all in my head, but it's kind of scrambled.
Well,
If you watch all of these episodes, but like, am I studying it? Am I watching it and then flashcarding afterwards? Am I enjoying I watched all of Next Gen and you couldn't remember what the bridge looked like. I had to go back and like look at photos.
really?
Yeah, because you're not looking at the bridge. You're looking at the actors
Right.
and the
You're watching the
story.
show.
Yeah.
Watching the story, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard.
He watches it every single night.
General
We're
Order
really,
12
it's
upsets
an
me.
unfair uphill struggle.
When
Yeah.
communication has not been established.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now we know.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Zach and Chris from the Random Red Shirt podcast. Thank you,
Hi, guys.
Thank you, Random.
Hey.
Thank you for the trivia.
Thank you,
They do
thank
our
you.
trivia every
Yeah.
week. They're awesome.
Thanks for
They
that
told
one.
me, and I was like, give me the answers. And he wouldn't give them to me.
Oh yeah, Zach said he knows you guys.
Yeah, Zach,
hung
I
out.
met him in Vegas.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
They're nice.
yeah.
They're great.
Is Zach the optometrist?
No, that's Andrew from Tasmania.
Oh,
Andrew.
Yeah, the Aussies, mate.
Right.
It's the Red Shirt podcast guys
Oh,
are the
right,
ones
right,
who were
right.
on stage with us at our live event.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice guys.
Yeah.
They are nice guys.
And now it's time for Stuck on an Island with Connor TRINNEER.
Mm.
Hey.
A deserted
A
island.
deserted island. All right. So it's on a deserted island, comma, with Connor.
Oh, there
TRINNEER.
it is. Yeah.
So here's the deal. You are on a deserted island for the rest of your life. You're not uncomfortable, by the way. You are given 2 works of literature. You get the works of Shakespeare and whatever religious book you desire. Your cuisine. So if you say like, I want Italian, you get all Italian. Your dessert. Again, if you pick pie, you get all the pies. Your author and your musician / composer, the complete works.
Okay. What's the first question?
Who's your author?
My author. Everyone says Tolkien, but there's so much to read. Like it fills up the whole time. Silmarillion alone, I'm like, it's my first year out there in the desert island. So I want to say Tolkien.
Okay.
Um,
Final answer.
You wouldn't be the first.
I know.
No,
I watched a bunch of them, and I was like, oh, they picked all my answers.
Your musician, composer, their works.
Oh, that one too has been used. So John Williams is my guy. He's at the bowl. I'm there watching him. You know, like it's film scores and classical, and I had him on the Boston Pops on my little radio.
Really?
Yeah, because he used to conduct there.
I don't think we've heard John Williams before.
He did. Terry said John Williams.
Someone did.
Yeah,
Did someone?
yes.
Terry did.
Terry did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he?
Oh.
But I agree with
And
him.
I think Terry was at least the second person.
But you get Jurassic Park, you get Star Wars, you get Jaws, you get all of this stuff.
All right.
I'm gonna say John Williams.
E.T.
All right.
E.T. Yeah.
Your cuisine?
Well, that's kind of hard. You guys say Italian. Italian is good because it's always good. I get bread.
You get bread.
Who doesn't like
Girls
bread?
in
Who doesn't like
Olive
bread?
oil.
But
Girls
they
and their bread.
They eat salads. They eat all sorts of
They do.
stuff.
Yeah.
They eat all kinds
What
of
is it with
They do.
girls and bread, man?
But I don't want you guys
I know,
to
it's a weird
suggest like
thing.
Italian and pies, but those are kind of my answers. And
Well, but there's nothing wrong. It's your island.
you're right. It's my island.
So
yeah.
your dessert, I'm assuming.
Yeah, pie is good because you can have like, I really like a lemon meringue pie,
Uh-huh.
an apple pie, pumpkin pie.
Maybe a key
Pecan
lime
pie.
on special occasions.
Yeah, I don't really like key lime, but there's a lot of pies.
See, I like her.
Shepherd's pie,
Liz, we're friends.
Shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
You're going to go the savory pies too.
because you get those.
You do? You do? Then your bonus item.
Oh yeah, that's hard. And so if I have an item that needs a plug, does it not work because it? I didn't get the plug?
We've kind of determined that you can have there's somewhere.
There'll be some solary kind
Is the
of
generator helping me with
generatory, some way to power it.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't get you off the island.
You can plug it.
Connor's very disappointed in this. In that
It used to be so
Yeah.
simple, and now it's gotten so complicated. But yes, you can have a plug.
I get a plug.
Yeah.
Unlimited power. This doesn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. I feel like a computer of some sort, because then I can play movies on it.
I think
I can
you have
write
to ride
books.
a bike to make it
I can
work.
do, huh?
I think you should have to ride a bike to make it
So
work.
I
like
like a
Gilligan's
bike.
Island.
Yeah. So,
So if
think
I have
about
my
it. If you
bike
wanna
and I
use
have
it,
my
you gotta be
desk
riding
and
a
I
bike.
can write and do cool things with it.
Yeah.
That's so like
It's a good workout.
millennial of me. Like, oh, I need my computer.
Yeah.
But well, you're going to get old, so it won't be millennial.
Right. When I'm old, I'll
When
be.
you're old,
You're not going to have the internet.
Wait,
Why-
I'll still be an old millennial.
The computer will get
You
old.
will. You will.
But I think there's a lot that the computer will give you. Like even I get the books and I get to watch movies.
Well, I don't know if you watched the Jimmy Darren one. I love this. His bonus item.
He wanted a Ferrari.
He wanted a Ferrari.
Is there a road
It's
that
like,
he can drive
no,
it
what
on?
are you going to do? He's like, I'm
Oh,
going to
that's
sit in it.
He's like,
Daydream.
he's like, I'm there
It's his
forever. I'll
bonus
make a
item.
road.
He doesn't need this item. It's a bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny.
So what
seems
he
to
does
want
at
a
home in
machete
Bel Air.
or a hammock.
It's okay.
No one wants a machete or a hammock. Or
I want a machete and a hammock. So
you
you're
can
not
make a
alone.
hammock with your
But
machete.
you're saying I'm
can
living
make one.
comfortably, so why do I need a machete? If I'm already there comfortable. I'm not Tom Hanksing it.
You don't have a bed.
That's fine.
Yeah, memory foam
How you
mattress
gonna,
for me.
Yeah.
You get Italian food. I was going to say, how do you eat all those delicious coconuts? But she's got Italian.
The
Italian food
coconuts
doesn't-
are on the island.
Yeah.
Those are included.
Yeah, how are you
true.
going to get into the coconut without a machete, though?
Gee, we've got
Rocks.
sharp rocks, which are plentiful on the island.
It's a Sharp Rock Island. In fact, that's the name of the island.
Sharp rock.
Sharp Rock Island.
Yeah, it's hard. You're not thinking about those things when you're surviving.
It's a good thing you're used to bleeding feet
Yeah.
on Sharp Rock Island.
Yeah.
But why would you want
Bleed
a
everywhere.
computer when you?
Could
Or
have.
why would you want the John Williams music when you? No, I'm gonna complicate this.
You
again.
gave me the music was a given.
It is a given. Yeah.
But how is that playing? Yeah. You
All
have
I'm
to figure
saying
out
is
how
that
it's-
with your computer and your Spielberg movies, you could listen to all the John Williams music you wanted to.
That's true. You're right.
You'd have to watch some of those movies.
But I didn't have movie watching. That wasn't part of the things I was given.
No, but you were given a computer.
I gave myself a computer.
You can't talk
I
to
could've
anyone.
chosen a
You can't,
TV.
you can't use it to contact anyone. There's no,
Oh, I didn't ask if
emailing.
there was Wi-Fi.
There's no
Is it
You
cool?
get a computer, there's no Wi-Fi.
So Brick,
Damn it!
I'm going to use that to open my coconut.
Keyboard.
Oh, you want a Dell?
Damn it.
Well, Liz, it was fantastic having you on the show. Really,
Thanks for
thank you
having
for
me.
coming. It was
for asking me all the questions.
illuminating and
Thank you, love.
yeah, what a
Thank
great
you.
guest you've been.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have a
it's nice
gift
to
for
meet
you, or we have a gift for you.
A
rather.
gift?
Yeah.
yeah. Some Band-Aids.
Hiding.
Band-Aids.
I got to bring those with
Some
me.
more.
Oh, thank
So there
you.
are from Alamitos Vineyards.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
This is your Patreon.
Hope the harvest is going well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Sean.
Oh, you met
Mhm.
Sean. You met Sean at the bleeding foot party.
Oh,
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
You did. Yes.
Dude, Dave's going to be so mad that's what we're calling his party. It was a great party.
It was a
Foot
great.
party.
Oh my God! Every
a bleeding foot party.
what do you call them? Cover band ever was there. The
Yes.
girl who did Lady Gaga, I was like, oh my God, that's Lady Gaga.
She's
She
pretty
was
good.
very good.
It was so fun.
Wow. I actually got a bit of a crush on George Michael.
Oh,
As one does.
Just got to say, nice buns.
everybody knew it.
Nice buns, great voice. On that note, you can go.
Like, subscribe, and enjoy. I literally can't say the one. Like, subscribe, and join us on Patreon. It's too many words.
When you look at me, you nail it.